things. You come along searching for one thing. One needed you and then I'm out here feeling alive. I'm out here feeling alive. You're just like the bad girl. You're just like the bad girl. You're just like the bad girl. In me, she's the best. Easy with the sad girl. She'll put you to the test. Now she's just a mad girl. Laying on your chest. Let her go out with it. Go up and down with it. You're just like the bad girl. In me, she's the best. Easy with the sad girl. She'll put you to the test. Now she's just a mad girl. Laying on your chest. Let her go out with it. Go up and down with it.
Pulled up to the set when I heard that brutal sound of the bass. Start to feel like I'm dreaming, man, should've seen that look on my face. But I'm so low-key, I'm an anonymous G that I left no trace. But when I step one foot in the room, I'ma set this pace. I feel like king of the hill when they're never gonna take my crown. That's the type of my sound, better rise up when I shut this down. I feel like king of the hill when they're never gonna take my crown. That's the type of my sound, better rise up when I drop this. Yeah. My God. Yeah. I feel like king of the hill when they're king of the hill. My God. Yeah. It feels like murder. Setting them alight when I lit that flame. Try pulling up side by side for the race, just realize that we're in a different lane. Yeah, see I'm out here killing the game. How can you claim that we're living the same? See in reality being on a similar stage. You're sitting in the crib while I'm singing my name. That flames, whole of the city on lock. The coldest flows and the cream of the crop. We've them bees with a lean and a bop. Got a phone line ringing to the heat don't stop. I feel like king of the hill when they're never gonna take my crown. That's the type of my sound, better rise up when I shut this down. I feel like king of the hill when they're never gonna take my crown. That's the type of my sound, better rise up when I shut this. Yeah. My God. Yeah. I feel like king of the hill when they're king of the hill. My God.
And like there were just 3 members of the team just watching run down their jungler. I don't think that's something.
I'm talking about. See, like White Lotus moving
down in this
There you
fight.
go, Mama.
But honestly, I think they're in a bad position here for White Lotus. But never mind, because Volibear does not care. Neither does Alistar. Way teleports to the back line. He's just dealing damage. Starter jumps out. He wants no smoke. Flashes over the wall to get him, but Way dodges. Still stud. He's just getting hammered by the two damage dealers. But Renekton is in just shredding everybody.
Yeah,
Okay.
brothers.
It's a double kill, triple kill for Renekton. Remember what we were talking about? SENTINEL comes down. The cage got one person. Does not matter. Knockout ultimate didn't get anybody. Well, not a glass ultimate got everybody. But we still have Zero in the back line. SENTINEL in the back line. They're still alive. They're trying to pump as much damage as they can on the Urgot. Urgot finally goes down. But he gets the revive from damn, fight's going down. SENTINEL is just running with the Mount Cock. Gets the ultimate out just to give the shield to everybody. Renata goes down. Zero is just to the side, flashing away with the ultimate. SENTINEL.
White Lotus over. Over it is. Congratulations, White Lotus. That makes it a 2-0 impressive.
Hello, welcome to LXC Winter Split. It's elimination bracket time for Sentinel. I'm here with Vish. I'm Scarlet, and today we're gonna watch Baron Besties versus RAWR. RAWR has selected to go red side. They had side select, and it's gonna be the second day where we're watching RAWR, and the third day of the last few days that Doki has been playing for RAWR because he played last week off stream for Crusader. He played yesterday on stream for Arbiter, and then here he is now for Sentinel. So
He's got to be tired. That was a very, very,
right,
very long game last night. It was all 5 games. It's like 1
yeah,
a.m.
I don't, I don't know. It's got to be rough for Doki right now, but he can pull it together and get it nice and done because whoever wins today gets to face White Lotus in the finals and potentially the bracket reset finals again the week after. So we'll have to see which of these two teams is able to move on to those finals, though.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I know White Lotus is in Twitch chat. Sup, Prowl? Come to watch the best of fives tonight so they can see who they're playing against.
yeah, get to see some interesting level ones, what they want to do about level ones that they get to see, and the drafts, especially, I think, are very instructive for how to prepare for the next week. For example, what we saw 2 weeks ago was that RAR showed on stream a new strategy in the Crusader League, and then the next week, because of the scouting, Brad Bolster Charity was able to defeat them last week off stream. So having the advantage of not only being able to see your opposition on stream, but see it live, so you don't even have to like find the time in the week to really think about it, but like really get to see it live and react at the time is really nice.
Yeah. Yep. I have noticed,
So
however, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think RAR has brought that Crusader double jungle to any of the
no,
other leagues.
I think that was kind of like it worked. Screw it, let's try it again. They definitely didn't bring it to Sentinel, and I don't know if it's because they specifically wanted to do it with the support that was in Crusader. Not support, really. I'm
Yeah.
blanking on his name. One second.
The
I'd have to look
egoist
at.
slays.
Yeah, Ego
Yeah.
Slays. I'm not sure what his. Is he in Emerald or could he technically join here? I don't think he's on the roster, so it would probably not
If
be
he's not
happening
on the
today.
roster, then he can't do it this week
Yeah.
because
So
roster lock. But
yeah. So unfortunately, we will likely not be seeing the double jungle. It would be funny if they put Ego Slays on the roster last minute and be like, all right. I mean, honestly, even if you weren't planning on doing it, I don't know if that's BM. Is it BM to put someone on your roster just to make the opposing team think, oh my gosh, we've got to prepare this many hours to see if we're ready for the double jungle? and then Ego Slays doesn't even show up, and you're just like, yeah, you're just here to mess with the enemy team. That would be really funny.
That would be
I think
funny.
it'd be a little BM though, and against the spirit of the league. So I doubt that that was really an option if Ego isn't available.
Yeah.
Not that it would be against the rules necessarily, but there's some respect level for
Yeah, I
your
mean, as long
opponents.
as they don't put him on the like the lineup just to mess with
Hmm.
them, then it would be
Hmm.
fine.
I do see that Richter, who played in the last best of 5, is here. I think that Richter was one of their shining lights for their close loss in yesterday's best of 5. So I could really see Richter coming in for Nox Lucifer if, Nox just isn't playing right how they want to, or just in a way that they need to draft differently, or even just to mix it up. Because sometimes, even if your mid laner's doing fine, you suddenly
Mhm.
bring in Richter, and all of the scouting and stuff has to be a little, reoriented, and they might mess it up a little bit. So am excited to see if Richter joins. I think we're gonna get into draft pretty soon.
Well, Rookter is not currently in their lineup tonight. They've got Feathers, Doki, Nox, Magic Claps, and Jonicus.
Am I looking at the
So
wrong thing? Is it week 9?
week
Yes.
9, yes, ma'am.
Do you see where it says Richter right here? Is
Yes,
that
yeah,
like
yeah. It's
our
on.
thing?
It's that's the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
But in the actual lobby tonight, he's not here right now. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
have to look for him in game 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Okay, so yeah, I see what you're saying. So for draft 1, he's definitely not coming,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
could
For
come
draft
later in
one,
the
we don't
series. He
have
is
it.
allowed to come
Yes.
later in the series. But for
So let's
now,
go ahead
it'll
and
be
get the
Nox
draft.
Lucifer. Mm-hmm. Smolder ban, very classic. However,
Very
a bit of an
classic.
inversion. He's banned on blue side first ban. I honestly think that's a mistake. Yes, you can ban Smolder on blue side if you don't play it, but at least leave it to ban 3, because red might ban it first, because people are really scared of it.
But everybody knows RAWR's not going to ban it because they'd rather play it.
That's true. That's fair. I guess it
So
doesn't
I
really
mean,
matter. I just like the little mind games.
you could still keep it to ban 3 before first pick, so that
Yeah,
you
because
can
they
get
might ban it
more
because they're worried
important.
you're not gonna play, or that you'll play it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. There's
I
always the
guess
chance.
you'd have to lock it in before they would choose to. Anyways, they just leave Smolder the last ban. But it would make their first 2 bans kind of interesting because they'd have to think we might have to ban Smolder, so we ban the high prior ones. I don't know. It's mind games. It doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
and we're taking out Feathers
Allowing an
allowing
Aatrox are more interesting and more specific to these 2 teams. Not exactly. I mean, Aatrox is definitely a big part of the meta, but
Gwen.
not usually the high priority of bans unless you're going for a specific top laner.
Yeah,
Gwen
specific top
also kind of an
laner.
interesting ban. I have not seen that in the meta in terms of like elite play, but in coordinated play at this level, Gwen has been pretty prevalent and just allowing your top laner to have a lot of autonomy and allowing your mid laner to have some AD threat as well.
And the Yone.
Mm-hmm.
Bye, Yone.
No more Yone today.
Who plays
Okay.
Yone on fucking RAWR?
Um, I guess Nox Lucifer. I don't think it's Doki. Could be
I've
Feathers.
never
You never
seen
know.
Doki play Yone.
Could you imagine Doki bringing out the Yone? It's not the weirdest struggle he's played. However, Aurelion Soul locked in blind. I love Aurelion Soul. It is scary to lock him in blind with these bans. You have not banned a lot of the things that makes him weak. Now, of course, a good Aurelion Soul, especially with good jungle pressure, can make it work. But a blue 1 Aurelion Soul is quite the statement to make for this best of 5. If they can make it work, this becomes a threat for the rest of the draft. If it doesn't work, then they're gonna have to reevaluate for sure.
Yeah. Apparently, we have side betting going on with our teams. They're betting skins.
Oh man,
There's the
someone
Zach.
really
They
wants
left the
RAR
Zach
to win.
for
Oh, so
Doki.
yeah, Zach for Doki is a huge deal. Twist of Fate, I believe, got nerfed this patch, but it's still fine. Let me double check. I always like get a little mixed up between what is live on the patch and what is coming next patch. Okay, he did not get nerfed this patch, so he is
Next
quite
patch.
strong unless he got nerfed before.
We've seen him played a lot,
No, he
actually.
was nerfed last patch. That's right. Oh, this patch was today. I am very well informed and up to date with stuff. There was a patch today, which I knew. Last patch, Twisted Fate, was nerfed.
Yeah.
And there was a patch today, which I'm going to bring to you guys information now. Dara's pick makes a lot of sense. Very high priority. Even on this patch, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, Yeah, while she looks at the stuff, Twitch viewers do keep in mind that poor Scarlett did cast 5 games last night till 1 a.m. So if her voice breaks on her and she has to clear her throat, don't 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 worry about it. The girl's got power. We believe in her going another 5 games tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, had to. Urgot, yeah, yeah. We saw him yesterday too.
Yeah. Okay. So I was looking at the patch and being really frustrated
No,
that
you're
Smolder
fine.
barely got touched. I might be wrong. I guess I haven't had time to look at it. Anyways, first Urgot blind pick is always interesting. I do like taking away Maokai, even though they already have the Zac. You could still see Maokai in a different lane. Pretty high priority. Now they're gonna ban a lot of things that could answer the Urgot. It seems like they already banned the Aatrox and Gwen, which I feel like we're in preparation for the Urgot pick. And Mordekaiser seems to confirm that they don't want to deal with a bad matchup there. Orloff as well, a top lane menace. Okay, but honestly, this is pretty good comp against Asol already. You got some nice aggression. Twisted Fate can go in a variety of places,
Mm-hmm.
and Zac pressure will make Asol cannot bully any mid laner. Especially Karma's a good ban because Karma mid, if it isn't Twisted Fate mid. I think Asol does well into Karma, so maybe it's not the best, but Karma Zac would definitely be quite the menace to him if they work together on specifically that lane.
Yeah, that little bit of pain right there.
hmm So I think you just blind pick your AD carry if Twisted Fate is mid. I guess it kind of gives away the flex though. Support here is not the worst to pick either. And they will pick that as Tarek. Yeah, it makes a lot more sense to pick support. Um, Now, how do you answer this Urgot? There's been what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 champions taken away from the top lane.
Yeah.
I mean, you could always just take the classic Renekton, Ornn. Ornn would be indexing pretty heavily into late game scaling. I'm not sure if I would want to go that hard unless I had a lot of confidence in my solo laners. But something defensive is not the worst whenever you're already probably going to be playing through the verse. Anyways, Malphite, however, strikes the balance pretty nicely. It doesn't matter too much if he gets behind, but he's not going to be a pushover either. And will certainly help the mid game fights that maybe Asol needs a little bit of help with until he gets like 2 items.
Okay.
Jungle here, I want to see something that can help Asol deal with this Zac though. Poppy, as mentioned in the chat, would be pretty good. It could be Jungle Maokai, of course, and then support something else, but I think it is. Okay, so Jungle Maokai is fine. Probably answers the Zac pretty well as well. But Rakan versus Tarek, I think that favors Rakan. So yeah, I mean, overall, Baron Besties. It's Baron Besties today, right?
Yeah, it's fair and besties.
I've got a pretty solid draft, It's one that seems to work together well, has some nice lanes, and honestly, I don't think they got very punished for the Acel pick other than the Zac with Hui. That kind of helps a bit because that does mean Twisted Fate is going bot lane. I think Twisted Fate Tarek will do fine there, so that's totally fine. And
And
then
honest,
Hui can work with Zac to bully Acel. I think there's more aggressive picks, but Hui at least has the insurance that maybe he doesn't outscale Acel, but he can still keep up pretty heavily.
yeah, yeah, and it does look like RAR's overall draft picks tonight, at least for game one, since that's the only one we're at, are a lot of comfort picks for them. It's a lot of
Yeah, I'm surprised that got
in
through.
the
I
block.
understand you want to ban these mid laners and stuff, but you didn't even pick the Maokai. So basically, you told Doki he got to play whatever he wants, and I guess that's a statement as well. If Doki cannot carry from this position where he got to pick literally any jungler he wants, then you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the drafts.
Yeah.
Uh, so
So
I
we'll see if
expect
they
to be
regret that.
right. Well, the thing is that game one, you can kind of test it, right? If you regret it, then you're like, all right, we're banning Doki champions. We have made a new plan. I think if they're going to regret anything this draft, it's going to be the blind pick Acel. But
Mhm.
again, I think there was heavier punishes that RAR could have put out, and they just didn't. So we'll have to see if Zac alone
No,
is enough to answer the Dragon Menace.
yeah, RAR just instead of punishing them, RAR just took what they're comfy on that
hmm
people have not let them play all split.
Right, right. And comfort is really good, but sometimes a blind pick Acel requires a little bit more than just comfort. We'll see
They
though.
will.
If RAR
Yeah,
is
so
able
we'll see.
to,
We'll see.
I mean, actually, RAR, one thing that they're comfortable on is whenever they're comfort, they snowball games pretty fast.
They
And
can.
that is something
Yeah.
that ASOL struggles to deal with.
You
And
have
there's not many ways to really slow it down here for Baron Buddies, Besties. Besties. So,
besties. Just say BBs.
if there is a way forward for RAR, it's definitely through just that snowball. And maybe we should give them more credit. You don't have to play snowball champions if you're just really good at your champions and can snowball through your absolute skill of doing better.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll see. We'll
so
see by the end of the game who has regrets, whether it's BB or if it's RAR.
mm-hmm.
I think RAR is
BB.
feeling pretty good about.
Just call him BB. Just
Yup,
call him Baron B.
just BB. Um, but yeah, I think RAR is feeling really good going into this because they're not being forced onto champions they're uncomfortable on. They're not being forced onto new champions they're just learning, and but at the same time, BB's comp looks pretty
Okay,
nice.
I will say this, regardless of who's favored to win, RAR is in a really bad spot if they lose this, more so than usual whenever you lose game one of a best of 5 series, because Baron Besties has given them a template and said you get to have every champion you want, and we're going to put ourselves as the most vulnerable by first picking Asol. If RAR takes this opportunity and loses, then they've really, really got to adjust because it tells Baron Besties everything they need to know about the rest of the draft,
Very true. Very true. If they lose on their comfy picks, then that means it could just be straight up downhill from here.
Right. If they lose on their comfort picks, then they have to draft for matchup instead of comfort. And that's going to be hard to win every single draft that you want to win on comfort whenever you're already, or on just pure draft diff, whenever you're already down a game and you had side select game one. So you're going to be down side select 3 games in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely RAR needs to win this game almost. Like, obviously, it always sucks to lose game one, but Baron Besties has really put the ball in RAR's court. It's kind of like their serve. And if they don't win this point, then they're in a massive deficit more so than just being 0-1 in the series.
Right. Right. And yes, we actually think that the BB draft is better,
Mm-hmm.
but we also know that if
We're not
RAR
talking
manages
about
to
10 random
snowball,
players playing this,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's
Sorry, I'm also
10
responding
players
to
we
our
know.
peeps
Mm-hmm.
in the chat, talking about how they think
If I
that
was given this to
BB is
10
better.
random solo queue players, I'd prefer the BB side. But
Yeah,
given what we know
100%.
about RAR, their comfort might overcome just the major draft difference. Not the major, but the minor draft difference, even.
The draft diff. The draft diff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's straight up. No matter how big or small, a draft diff will
Mm-hmm.
really can call the game one way or the other. But uh, we'll
Either way,
see.
we'll have to see
We'll
after
see.
a break. And we'll be right back for game one of Baron Besties versus RAR.
Yeah.
Think you're the beat to every ghost drum. I see a boy who missed his home run. Boo-hoo, you can miss me with that shit. I think of you when I'm intoxicated. I don't know why I get frustrated. Oh, babe, love was on your mind. Last night we fell by your side. Oh, you can't deny. I bet you wish it's you and I can see that you still try. Your sweetest dream, but only in your memory. Only in your memory. By side it's you and me. Only in your memory. You wish it's only you and me. I really need to get some sleep. Used to say it's you and me. Only in your memory. Only in your memory. Oh, babe, love was on your mind. Last night we fell by your side. Oh, you can't deny. I bet you wish it's you and I can see that you still try. Your sweetest dream, but only in your memory.
Okay, welcome to game 1 of Baron Besties versus RAWR, and I think the onus is really going to be on Nox, Lucifer, and Doki to deal with this Aurelion Soul. I don't think that the weaknesses are really present in the other lanes, like Varus,
Instant game pause.
XD. Well, I get more time to talk about what I was saying. Varus Rakan is not as vulnerable as many melee supports are, because Rakan can literally take the second and dash 10 miles away. You know, most melee supports, they're at least a little bit more committed. Like if you wait till Nautilus hooks, oh man, he's dead because our jungler's here. You wait till Rakan W's in and you just ease, and then flashes or W's or I don't know. So, you know, bot lane's not as vulnerable and top lane's Malphite. Also not that vulnerable whenever you're talking about Urgot Zac. More vulnerable than most Malphite games, I guess, because the CC from Zac and the damage from Urgot is pretty extreme for top lane jungle synergy. But honestly, it really is just about shutting down this ASOL from my perspective. We'll see if RAR has a different method of extracting a victory here. But that's just how I'm going to set up the game while we have you know, a moment to talk about it longer.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of time apparently, at least 10 minutes. Hopefully
Oh,
they
man.
don't use their whole 10 minutes in the very beginning of the game
You
trying to
said
pick the
you
mic.
said at least 10 minutes, and I was like, do you know something I don't? Oh my god.
Yeah, each team is limited to 10-minute
Yeah,
pause
yeah.
per game.
I know. You said at least. I think you meant at most. I was just like going through my head, how am I going to talk for 10 minutes at least?
Oh, yeah.
But it looks like they might be getting started soon. Either way, Pretty classic item starts from both teams. Tier start on Acel is usually kind of greedy, but against something like Hui, whenever you both have teleport, I support it. You usually just want to get some early stacks, maybe get an early push in, recall, get either a Doran's Ring or a book, or even a crystal, and then come back. You're not under that much pressure usually, although Doki does like those early ganks, which tier can put you under the pressure of, arguably.
Yeah. Now remember, Doki does not play with Flash, so we can't
Yep.
expect him to do so.
I mean, Zach, okay, look, obviously Zach is better with Flash. I'm not going to defend Doki too much here, but Zach can do some crazy things even whenever he doesn't have Flash up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of which, gets a nice little ward. We'll probably spot out where Almond is starting, which is pretty nice. Game is going to pause buffer here. This is normal if it's frozen on your screen. It is because it is catching up on the pause because the game doesn't really understand how to do that properly,
We
and
don't
it
know
is
why.
unfrozen. I know why. It's because Riot doesn't care about its spectator client as much as I think it should, but I am biased because I use it all the time now.
Yep.
Oh, they're actually going to try to see where Sudoku starts. They find him. And that's a tier stack, but Wu will already take a chunk of damage, and that's just not worth it. I'm not sure why you're trying to greed for vision on something like Zac, where, like, yes, knowing where he is kind of helpful. But honestly, playing on the opposite side doesn't matter too much whenever he can just jump on you, and being low on health matters a ton. So, I don't know. I just feel like greeting for that early ward isn't going to matter too much in the Maokai versus Zac, and I don't think it's going to matter too much in terms of getting ganked mid lane whenever you're risking your health bar in a matchup that you already really need to get pushed. Like, look at how much the zoning is already happening. Nox has already gotten another trade off, and you are not getting prio in the mid lane for a long time.
No, not for quite a bit.
But with the teleports, you can do something like push in or get the first 3 waves pushed in, or maybe even the first 6. Play really defensively under tower, miss a few CS, get your tier stacks, recall, teleport in on the cannon wave, and you'll be okay with it. Your Maokai might be a bit sad if Doki comes visiting. Ooh, level 2, nice. But he'll get over it. You know, sometimes junglers just gotta get over it. I first picked Acel. What did you expect? You're gonna get invaded. Deal with it.
Yes. For sure.
Oh, Recon, doing Recon things.
Doing recon thing.
Alright, top lane looks interesting as well. Urgot's definitely supposed to get priority. However, he's using his priority to get a nice little vision control. I guess he didn't really place a word. I guess it was just to make sure there wasn't a jungler coming. I don't play top lane, so I don't get it. But I've heard Feathers has played quite a lot of top lane, so I'm sure he can explain it to me.
Played quite a lot of top lane.
Feathers, I've heard a lot about. I haven't gotten to see him play yet, but looking back at last week's games, it looked like he did have quite the impact. So definitely expect top lane to be more of a factor for RAWR than games I've seen them play in this league. But right now, it is looking like he's losing a lot of health and complete control over the mini wave. Here comes Doki. First gank's going bot lane. I did say this wasn't that vulnerable, and you can see why. He E's out, W's in, and then E's out again, and Doki is half health. 1 health. Almost loses his passive, all for 0 sums. And look at the health bars of Mary, Lee Sin, and Liv. They're completely fine. Feathers, however, a lot more vulnerable than I thought he would be. However, here comes the counterplay jungle. Doki does have passive, so he's not as vulnerable as he looks. The exhaust comes through, but it doesn't mean that Jonakis can't kill on to Almond. Doki's coming in because he still has passive. If they get this passive for nothing else, it might be okay. They do so far. Liv can definitely get out once his E is up. Gold card comes through at the wrong time. W actually used, not E. And I'm not sure why Almond went so hard on that play whenever they had already gotten the victory. Meanwhile, Kim looking like he doesn't even Nox looking like he doesn't even need Doki to visit to punish the Acel. So honestly, just a lot of things that I wasn't expecting, right? Doki came bot lane. It was very clearly not gonna work, except Almond said, no, Doki, you're right, we should be here, and made it work. They trade Doki passive for first blood.
Yep. And Doki got the first blood.
Right. And then because Kim is playing too defensively or trying to play too aggressively to be defensive around Doki, getting the vision, suddenly his health bar is so low that Doki doesn't even need to come, and Nox gets a solo kill under tower. It just feels like unforced errors from both sides. Not both sides, sorry. Unforced errors from both the bot lane and the mid lane of Baron Besties. is showing why the comfort for RAR has helped them, at least for now, get some really nice lane matchups.
Yep. Yep. This is what we were talking about, them just being comfy on their champions to make up for the draft diff. So we'll
Hmm.
see if we manage to keep that going throughout the rest of the game though.
Yeah, well, I mean, this Acel is in a horrible position. Being behind Hui is not the worst usually, but whenever you're already this far behind and there's a Zac on the enemy team who hasn't even paid that much in tempo to kill you because Hui got it solo, it could be a bit scary. However, this dragon will take a lot of tempo away from Doki. I like going for first dragon instead of the grubs, but doing it without your bot lane for so long can be kind of difficult. Luckily, bot lane has tempo now, so it won't take that much longer. But this is a lot of camp time that Doki could be using to either gank or get farm. Ocean Dragon, however, it must be said, taking Ocean Dragon 6 minutes feels pretty good for all of your laners. They are no longer worried as much about poke. And man, this mid lane just looks so miserable. Uh,
That's all I could see was Acel going, please die. Before he gets
right.
back, please die,
Feather's
minion.
getting a flash out. Here still comes the Doki pressure, and as you can see, whenever Nox has
Oh,
already gotten one kill and gotten summoners out, oh, not actually
oh,
getting that one. But
not getting
still,
it.
you know, the 250 gold would have been nice, but making Acel back without teleport, oh, Doki might collect it anyways, gets on Almond because of the great block. But this spends even more Acel time just trying to get a recall off. That's going to be another wave gone.
Mhm.
And it makes Almond have to spend time trying to defend him. So now Kim Jwoo's problem in lane is Almond's problem. See, again, more tempo
Again.
where Hirwei can come at any time, so Almond can't really fight back. And
Feather.
this all starts from having a weak mid lane, which you first pick blind, and then you don't play appropriately to protect.
See so many
So,
pings going out on the map. I love
yeah.
it.
So now Doki is going to be able to use a lot of this tempo, to be fair. Like, being behind in farm against Maokai is pretty rare. Being
Mhm.
down a level also, and they're even using Feather's tempo. But they've gotten all 3 Void Grubs and the first dragon, which is a pretty rare accomplishment. Well, they've got 1 Void Grub, we're assuming. I'm assuming they'll get the other 2.
Well, there's
Zac
the
is just
second
not the
one.
fastest taker of Void Grubs, of course. Almond's now face checking into Nox. I don't think Acel can come and help really, so Almond's taking more tempo. Might even die here. Not
Oh,
quite, but certainly is going to either recall or have to play. Oh!
oh,
And mid lane's problem is once again Almond's problem. And the entire draft that you started it around the Acel, blind picking Acel, is now your weakest point.
dang.
And this is what I mean, like, you need to pick a jungler that can support the Acel in many ways. You need a jungler that won't have a problem clearing waves or staying safe whenever he has to help the Acel push in. Maokai definitely does a lot of things. I think he could arguably fill that role. He just hasn't been able to this game, partially because of the bot lane play where he put himself behind, and partially just because of how far behind Kim Jwoo is against Nox Lucifer.
Mhm.
Because don't get me wrong, Maokai is definitely a pretty good jungler at helping early game aggression even out, but it's just not materializing here.
We're gonna
Bot
see
lane
how it goes.
looking pretty good for Mary Lee Sin and Liv. Um, despite everything that happened down here, despite the misplay that allowed that gave first blood over, it went over to Doki, so that's not affecting them right now. It's mostly affecting mid and jungle. So in their lane alone, I think they're even in gold despite the assist. Let me check. So you won't be able to see this on stream. Actually, Mary Lee Sin is down 300 gold, but that's like a longsword. Not the worst. And Feathers gets an ultimate out of Moxie.
Yes.
And like we talk about the draft difference, but if your Malphite has to ultimate and flash away from an Urgot without any jungler intervention, then your draft diff doesn't matter. Because you did not draft this Malphite to lose lane and to be okay. You drafted him to like lose lane, sure, but not to the point where he's not going to be able to affect anything on the map until way later into the game.
Yeah, until in
That's what you
game
draft like an
time.
Ornn for. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it would totally be different if it was an Ornn, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So, TF is behind, obviously. Or no, he's not. Sorry, the assist again. He's up 300 gold. So my
Yeah.
point is even. It's just like there's no shining option for Baron Besties except for maybe this Varus. It's a little early in the game, and they have the Acel, so they don't have to technically have a winning lane. But
They just
even
have to
as an
drag it out.
Acel, yeah, even as an Acel player, I'm kind of getting uncomfortable here. Like, guys, I cannot be the only one that is going to be useful late game. Please tell me you've got some way to extend the game. Here comes Maokai, however. This old gank is pretty good. It brings the bot lane. The flash does not matter whenever the Maokai roots are coming so far. And yes, they commit a lot, but giving that shutdown to Acel is so huge that it's definitely worth it. And honestly, that's sometimes what you need. You just need to do something so off the wall. They'll never expect you to bring your 80 carry over, but those 3 layers of CC, Acel, Maokai, and Varus, although it was mostly the Maokai, obviously, will be to secure the kill, but Almond is now in trouble.
Almond.
And it looks like they're going to pay for it. Urgot even came down
Yeah.
to secure this dragon. So it looks like they're going to get the shutdown, but they will trade it for the dragon. Still worth it, in my opinion. Getting an Acel shutdown is so valuable. And it just slows down Hui a little bit, who now has to go up top and deal with the wave top lane.
Doki and crew will get their second dragon. Yes.
Which you expect to give up the first 2, maybe even 3 dragons whenever you draft Acel. He's not exactly going to be able to commit to the first 2 dragons that easily. But if they give up much more than that, it gets very difficult. And speaking of which, the grubs are spawning for the second time, and I think Doki wants them. They've got both solo lanes already there. Acel can come, but he doesn't have that much mana, and he doesn't have ultimate. No supports will be here, so it'll just be the 3v3, but the solo lanes for RAWR are pretty strong. Bot lane also going for a play. Looks like it's going to just be a trade. Actually, Liv going in deeper. Jonicus is in a lot of trouble. If he makes it to this indestructible, however, the playback is pretty good. Meanwhile, top lane, again, the solo lanes are so strong from RAWR. They will pick up Alban. Jonicus will fall, and Liv can get out at any time. He doesn't even have to because the Varus ult finds Magic Claps, and they will win that 2v2, which is very good because they're losing on the other side of the map. Yeah, and that's generally like what's going to happen whenever you commit to, I mean, I don't know, it was a 3v3 and a 2v2, so it's not necessarily cross map or anything, but it does feel like Magic Claps and Jonicus needed to respect that they were not strong in the 2v2. But it's kind of hard to respect the Rakan engage range. It's pretty far. However, I have no idea why the rest of Baron Besties thought they could win the 3v3 whenever they're so far behind.
Maybe they're trying to look more aggressive?
Yeah, I guess they thought that Acel was going to be able to carry with his one item, which is close to his power spike. Really helps on him. Meanwhile, Feathers is playing with fire here. He baits in pretty hard. Doki doesn't have the damage, however, so the bait really just gets Feathers flash out, and Doki is here to save more than to pressure.
Doki's been pretty good on his ganks.
Yeah, he's definitely helped all 3 lanes in a massive way. Mid was doing well by itself, but definitely Doki was able to snowball that even harder. Feathers also doing well by himself, but denying that death is pretty big, and Doki does have 3 kills to show for it. And also getting every objective on the map so far, the first 2 dragons, all 6 grubs, and almost assuredly he's going to get this Herald as well. Although Feathers being this low might make it a bit more difficult. Moxie doesn't have ult, has flash. Here comes Jonicus. Not the biggest of pressure unless he can land a stun. Slowing Jonicus down here is very key because now you can walk out. Doesn't quite get out of the stun. Has to flash. And this means that no one is going to help deal with Doki in the pit. Almond's actually going bot lane to try to deny Magic Claps. But Magic Claps is probably fine losing a wave of minions in return for the Herald.
And we have BB invading jungle.
They just want to make sure Magic Claps doesn't get any cheeky walking back into range or anything. Get some camps. Get some vision denial. Because this next dragon is pretty key for them to deny RAWR if possible. I mean, sometimes on Acel you do have to give up the 3rd dragon, but it never feels good. Here comes the dive, however. A lot of CC coming through. Magic Claps does not have summoners, so he will absolutely fall. It's just a question if he gets anyone at all. No, Liv is able to walk out, taking the tower range as much as possible and walking out safely.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, RAWR has shown why they like these champions. The only one that's looked a little bit uncomfortable is maybe Magic Collapse. Maybe Feathers arguably isn't has as much of a started performance as usual. I mean, he's kind of bullying Moxie, so it's more like the other lanes are just doing so well in comparison. I mean, I guess Magic Collapse isn't, but you know, Donicus looks fine. And Doki and Nox are just showing why you shouldn't give Doki Zac. It turned a pretty straight lead from Nox over Kim into a immediate high pressure lead mid lane. It meant that Feathers got to be high pressure against Moxie without punishment.
For sure.
And it helped Magic Clubs out a little bit before they started to give up on bot lane and pressure more the top side.
Well, it looks like we're about to start seeing a lot more team fights. So
Yes, this dragon is very important. I think if I'm Baron Besties, I say give up this dragon, but if someone said let's go for it, I wouldn't exactly
say no.
be ready to call it against it. I mean, this fight is so hard for them, however. The only person they have with any real items is Marie Lee Sin. Riley's complete for Acel is a big power spike, but it means he doesn't have the damage to follow up, and the only damage that will follow up is just the Varus. So,
right.
I just don't know that they can really deny this dragon.
Maybe they can go for the steal.
That might be their only option, but going for a steal is a risky proposition. They're also committing the Herald here. I think Tarek ult is a little early because of the root. So they do just use a Tarek ult for Varus ult, and Acel ult is coming up pretty soon. Malphite ult obviously used as well. But Malphite ult is still up. If he finds a pretty good one, I think there'll be enough damage to clean it up now that Tarek ult is down. TF will also have a pretty good angle, because that's just how TF works. So you're not going to be able to find a Malphite ult on TF almost certainly. You kind of need to engage the fight first with it. But they are feeling confident enough to start the dragon because both Feathers and Magic Claps are just in the lanes. But TF can come quickly and Feathers is already on the way.
Yep.
Here comes Doki attempting a steal. It's going to go over to blue team still. That's really good to deny. But Baron Besties also wants to fight afterwards. Jonicus going down is not the biggest of deals because he doesn't have ult anyways. Orgot Fear is going to be big. It takes down two of the supportive characters, but TF's already down and Feathers is doing a lot of damage, and they still have Mary Lee Sin. That's going to be one. Doki should have passive, but it doesn't really matter. That just means you get to choose who gets it. I expect they'll give it over. They want to give it to Varus, and that's totally fine. And it was a pentakill, so that's probably why. I totally missed that. Wow.
I think our little...
Thinking back in my head, that was a pentakill? Wow.
Yeah. The league lady, it just took a little long to get it out there.
I seriously thought they were going to give it to Acel, but if Acel took that, I think if I was Varus, I would just be typing up a storm. What the heck? He took my penta. Varus is a little accelerated. He just got 5 kills.
Yeah.
And really, it's just a matter of Jonicus's ultimate being a little early in the mid fight. And I don't know, it just felt like RAWR was hesitant to pull the trigger. They waited for the steal whenever they could have probably gone in while Baron Besties was entirely in the pit. I think they wanted to wait for Feathers specifically because he was walking from mid lane. I don't know, though. Varus being able to be alive for that long in a situation where he should be enclosed in a pit, it feels like there must have been some misstep, but the fight was so chaotic, I don't know if I could really point to any one thing.
It's just...
And this is where the draft diff does begin to come into play, because the important part of RAWR's comp versus this one is that they snowball and win the game. It's one dragon alone can stop that snowball pretty hard because it's an extra 6 minutes before soul spawns. And now Nox is in trouble because the bot lane is pretty far ahead. Nox should be dead here. Acel wants to get the kill. Doesn't even get an assist. Kind of rude, but you know. Give it to Mary Lee Sin. Why not?
Said no. I'm carrying this game.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Acel doesn't really care, honestly. Like, gold on Acel's great, but levels is also great just for the Q distance. And right now he can be more supportive role, just rallying people down. And that is what's happening now. Doki has nowhere to go. Maokai ult committed. Maokai might die here. Not quite. And suddenly RAWR is falling apart. they want to do two different things. Doki wants to go in after losing Nox, and Magic Clubs just wants to go for the bot lane tower. And it's a question of why not choose one, right? If you're going to go in, bring TF up. If you're not going to go in, Doki should just stay away. Now they're choosing the worst of both worlds, where yes, TF gets the tower, but they might lose a lot more mid lane for it.
Yeah. Sadly, the for RAWR, their snowman has toppled, and good on BB to keep them from making it bigger.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get onto this Varus too. He's gonna hurt like hell. But also there's so much CC between the Varus ult, Rakan, Asol, Malphite. It is really hard to engage a fight where you get onto Varus and you kill him. I think Mary Lee Sin is probably the safest Varus that ever lived.
He's
It's
got
just like
cushions.
you've got a 700 gold bounty, so play it safe, but like just auto attack things, you can never die. Usually you're a little afraid against Zac if you're Varus, but I just don't think there's enough follow-up that will actually get through your beefy front line.
Oh, Lorda.
So yeah, I mean, this is officially the turning point where the game becomes much, much harder than it looks. You know, whenever RAR had a 2k gold lead or 3k gold lead in 2 dragons, it was like, okay, this game is close. But whenever Baron Besties has the 3rd dragon and the 3k gold lead with the champions they have and where the gold is, things are very dire for RAR. And again, if they lose this game, things are very dire for the entire series.
Yes. Yeah, it's gonna look RAR's gonna be fighting uphill battles for the rest of their games tonight.
Yes, but RAR has surprised me before. They've definitely taken games where they were supposed to snowball, stumbled a little bit in the mid game, and then suddenly had a pretty good macro call or some amazing team fight that got them back into the game. And they do have a comp where that is possible here. Doki's looking for something now. TF could come up. It looks like he's looking now, but the tower's available and there's a teleport coming in. They can maybe pick up Liv. I don't think they can kill. Oh, but Doki falls before Tarek even comes in. And now it's absolute disaster. You're not even trying to get the Varus. You're trying to live. Here goes down Tarek. Here goes down Feathers pretty soon. And Magic Clouds will not be that long behind. I think Nox is also running for his life. And look at the Rylai's. Even though Asol doesn't do that much damage, TF has to spend so much time running away from the slow that he also has to flash. And that is going to be a Baron call. The only thing that RAR could possibly do here is take the 3rd dragon, lose Baron, and try maybe to get Soul despite their horrible position. I'm not sure that they're going to go for that, however. They might go for the Baron steal and say, we're going to try to win this game right now.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, but Feathers is the only one here, and this Baron is falling down. It looks like Hui is teleporting bot. They are going to go for the dragon, but they've made the decision in such a disjointed way. Urgot is not willing to TP yet. I think that they can finish the dragon. There's quite a lot of damage between the two that are there right now, and the teleport was committed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it looks like they will eventually get that dragon and the tower. Probably the best they could get after losing that fight so horribly, but the only chance they have now is to somehow pick up Soul and hope that Soul outscales Aurelion Soul, which I have not seen that proposition work well in the past whenever you got a situation like this.
Oh, goodness. This is a fight
Okay,
for
Doki's
tower.
going for another engage. There's no Taric ult yet. So they're going purely just by trying to live, and the tower is hitting Doki. He goes into passive now, but it doesn't really matter when no one can back him up. Now Nox is also rooted. He will go down. Zoki will go down. Jonicus running for his life from a deadly Mary Lee Sin. Now Mary turns onto the tanks, onto Magic Claps, and Taric is lucky if he dodges the Q, that will be lethal. It's going to come out pretty soon. Here it goes. Not going to be quite lethal. Either way, it will be quite lethal to RAR's chances of winning this game.
Number 2 pentakill in the same game? Come on.
Either way, I mean, you can't even begin to deal with the Lee Sin whenever you try to engage on the front line and you can't kill anyone there. Doki is just too squishy. There's not enough damage to follow him up in short range. If they ever got in range to deal damage to even the frontliners of Baron Besties, Mary Lee Sin would be sure to cut them down very quickly. There's even a cleanse on him that he hasn't used for the past like 10 minutes just because of how little RAR has been able to jump on him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, goodness.
Yeah,
Alright,
so
so once again,
again,
flowers.
their biggest chance is really Zaka is pretty good at stealing. He might not have the damage burst, but he has the ability to be mobile and get to whatever objective you're taking, no matter how much you try to zone him out. So I think their one chance here is to delay till Dragon spawns and try to steal it.
Oh goodness.
I mean, look at Acel now. He was so far behind for the entire game, and now he's got a 7-stack Roa, 2 other items that are pretty powerful. Sure, he won't be doing as much burst damage as an Acel that one lane or got into 40-minute games, but he's certainly
Yeah.
going to be a role player at this point, where all
Or
he
got
has to do
fed
is slow people until Varus kills them.
fed on a freaking golden platter, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's bars. Everybody said, "Hey, here's my chicken leg."
Right. And they can even just take this tower with impunity. Doki's going to try to deny it. They have Tarkle, but TF is not here. So really, they're just trying to defend this tower. The fear will be big, however.
Oh.
That might be enough. I think Mary can't
What?
not turn around on this, and everyone else is going to fall. TF, meanwhile, is taking an inhibitor, and this is what I was talking about, RAWR. Just
Again,
pulling
look
a
at
magic
Magic
rabbit out of a hat. They dive in because Baron Besties is just trying to take a tower with impunity when they don't have the option to. And it's true that Mary Lee Sin is safe. It doesn't matter if Mary Lee Sin is safe, however, if all the targets hitting everyone else are invincible to Taric ult. And now they're trying to end the game. Feathers is at half out. The Nexus is too low. Mary has to come in. I believe RAWR will actually pull this off. And somehow, even though a few minutes before I said it was almost impossible, I said the only way was if they got Soul. RAWR takes game one in a fashion that no one expected.
People gotta pay attention to magic claps, man. You never know where that sneaky guy's gonna be.
What did I just watch? I was kind of trying to like cast through the moment, and I was saying things. I was not processing them. RAWR won that game.
RAWR won. Feathers.
Magic Mary Lee
Clap.
Sin did not die. He had the
Magic
most
Clap.
gold in the game.
Magic Clap snuck into their base, and Feathers joined him, and they won.
Well, it wasn't just that he snuck into their base, right? A backdoor like that isn't just sneaking in unless it's something like truly where the Nexus is open. It was Magic Clap saying, "Fuck you guys, I'm gonna go bot lane and take the tower. You guys defend base." And Doki said, "Okay, sure, fuck it." Jumping in and winning the fight 45 easily without losing a member.
That was crazy. Crazy.
It just defies all sense.
Comfort picks.
To be honest, I know I said if RAWR loses, they're in a bad spot, but honestly, even winning like that, the draft is kind of hard to deal with because I don't think they have truly. Well, I mean, I don't think that they've convincingly. I don't think they've convincingly proven they can deal with the ASOL because it's not going to be possible every game where. I mean, jeez.
I think if BB had paid closer attention to where the RAR members were, rather than just trying to force that push into a fight,
Or
that
if they
were
won the
losing.
5v4,
Right?
that was also a possibility.
And I
Because if they
think
win the
they could've
5v4, then you just pick up Magic Clubs. You don't even care if you lose the inhib, you win the game. But they lost a 5v4
Yeah.
where they could have just backed off.
So
But again, okay, so like here's the thing. Draft doesn't care about crazy bullshit like that, right? You can't draft for Magic Cups is gonna go backdoor. We're gonna force them to fight a 45 and win it, right? That's not really a situation you can draft for. I mean, I guess you can if you're Doki. But but you know, I don't think they've convincingly shown that they can beat the ASOL, right? They had the best opportunity possible there where ASOL literally died 1v1 in the lane. Doki had pressure on all 3 lanes, and they still almost lost the game and let it get to the point where ASOL was convincingly going to win the game. And I'm just not sure that they can allow ASOL to go through draft if Baron Besties is able to draft it. Pick one, allow you to counter it with whatever you want, let Doki have whatever they want, and still almost lose.
Yep. Yep. So that's got to be a huge blow to BB's mental for game 2.
I mean, yeah, as someone who tries to play based on theory instead of results, which, you know, has its own drawbacks, then you kind of go, screw it. We just do that 3 more times and we'll pretend we won 4-0. Just don't make the mistake at the end. You know, you can kind of shrug it off like that, but yeah, it's very tilting still.
That was so crazy. And I have to be careful because my DMs in Discord were blowing up, going watch the end, and I was like, no, I gotta stop looking at this. I'm watching the
Yeah, no
game.
spoilers. No spoilers. We gotta react in time. If I had known that was gonna
Right?
happen, I don't think my reaction would have been as genuine. That was
Our producer
definitely
said he would
something.
have thought they were trolling. Um, oh my god,
Okay.
that was
How do you
crazy. All
even
right, well,
unpack that, right?
let's just pay attention to where people are. Don't lose your team fights.
Yeah. Baron Buddies has
What
chosen
best
to
I
go
got?
blue side, and honestly, if
Yes.
they ran it back with the same 5 champions, I would not blame them. A lot of people don't like the run back, but usually the run back is bad because you like over blame one major mistake and say, "Oh, if we don't do that, there won't be a problem." But literally, it is not possible to overstate. Because of one major mistake, they lost that game. And it was a very easy mistake to rectify. So they could literally run back the same 10 champions, and I think they win. I mean, arguably,
Arguably, they
there were
can do the same thing and lose again. What?
I mean, I guess. Well, again, there is an argument that maybe RAR won't throw their lead like they did earlier, where Varus just randomly gets a pentakill, and that's almost just as unbelievable as the backdoor. Because it did feel like Doki did kind of mental boom and throw some fights that he really shouldn't have, which stopped their snowball. So maybe you can't run back the same 10 champions. But honestly, as tilting as that is, if I was Baron Besties, I'd still feel favored in this series despite being 0-1. Which I know is a weird thing to say.
I don't
But
know. I kind of hope they adjust a little bit. I can see keeping a
yeah.
couple of the key champions, but I do hope that they adjust a little bit to make up for, you know, where they lost.
Right, because it is true that if you give Nox that same champion matchup and you lose like that on Acel, I don't think it's very many games where they're going to throw that, to be honest. So there's definitely an argument that Baron Besties was in a bad position for most of that game. Somehow got an advantage because Mary Lee Sen pulled out a pentakill out of his ass. And then,
Quite
um,
nicely too, and then almost pulled out a
right,
second one.
right. And then another thing happened out of someone's ass that makes no sense. So maybe you shouldn't over focus on how you were winning just before that either.
Hmm. Yeah.
But I don't know. It feels like, well, I don't know. We'll have to see in the
To
draft for
me, it
sure.
felt literally the very end. It felt like they made a bad call in the team fight, and then nobody noticed that Magic Claps had stuck on his ninja shoes and was taking their base. So that's map awareness. It's one of your basics, map
Oh my
awareness.
gosh.
So that to me is how that's why they lost. Map awareness.
Oh my goodness. I just uh I'm very confused. I don't know. I think it's really, you know, it's really hard to go from a game like that and adjust your draft because there are so many mixed messages, right? Baron Besties lost, but honestly, they probably should have won. However, RAR was ahead in mid lane, bot lane, and top lane, and they kind of threw their advantage on a stupid fight. And 90% of the time from that position, they should win. So really, how do you blind pick Acel again and have confidence that you'll be able to pull it out again?
I mean,
I
I
don't know.
would. I would.
Yeah, yeah, because again,
I might
I think
adjust who my top laner is, but
yes,
you know,
yeah.
my answer to the question is yes, totally. Because
Okay,
while
here's the
it
thing.
didn't work out for them early, it did work out for them later.
Right, because here's the thing, right? You had Acel, Varus, and Rakan, right? Acel
Yep.
was killed twice and was
Yep.
in a horrific position. Now that can't happen, and that's okay. But your bot lane also lost a fight early where your jungler died to the enemy jungler, and they were behind, and suddenly your bot lane turned online and won that side of the map with just those 4 players, right? No jungle
Hmm.
involvement. They were crushing it. Draft has started. So I think, yeah, you can pick the Acel, and even if things go poorly, again, if they don't go that poorly, you should win the game as long as you keep an eye on Magic Claps and his Magic backdoors.
Yep. Yep.
All
Ninja
right,
boot.
bands are very similar here. Actually, exactly the same so far.
Ah,
We're,
we've got Asol
oh,
on here
Asol
now.
banned from Baron Besties. So not only are they not willing to blind pick it, they're not allowing RAWR to have it either, which is a major adjustment that neither of us thought they would do.
Yeah, because their last one
Um,
was Yone for their third ban.
right,
So
right, right. So not only are they not willing to blind pick Asol, they're not willing to pick something and have RAR pick it.
yeah, they
So
don't
they
want
have a
Rar to
huge
play it.
priority on this pick, and they've given up on it after that game where Asol performed terribly and still were able to turn it around. So
Mm-hmm.
I think they've just completely lost confidence because of how horribly the lane went for Kim Jwoo. And you know, honestly, that was probably more tilting than the back door. If you're Kim Jwoo and you have to play 20 minutes, 15 minutes of just being absolutely dumpstered by two champions, the Hui and the Zach, and then even the target times coming up, you know, it can be very difficult mentally for a player to then decide to play it again. I do like the Maokai first pick, however, it takes something away from Doki this time. However, Zach is still available.
Um, yeah, I mean it was Maokai was BB's second pick last time, so uh,
Yeah, so
they are
Doki
sort of
had it
getting
available,
to
but
it.
picked Zach first. This time he only has Zach available, and what else does he play that's high priority? Here comes Zach, however. And
They keep
Senna
letting
is
them have it.
another high priority champion, was
Oh,
nerfed this patch. Let me read out the patch notes real quick for her, really quickly summarize them. I believe they just nerfed, yeah. So now whenever she's farming, she gets less souls, which is a major part of her scaling.
Ari.
However, as a support, she's still totally fine. As a non-farming support, of course. Ari is a very safe blind pick and definitely has a lot different lane matchups than Acel, so I
Uh-huh.
kind of like that adjustment. It's very hard for Ari to get shut down that heavily, even by a Zach.
Yeah, she can bounce away and charm away, and
Mm-hmm.
she has many ways to survive, which is nice.
Now, Philios is an interesting pick. It kind of tries to outscale the Senna, or just play. I mean, you could play aggressively with it for sure, but it's not exactly a Tristana or a Callista. So it does seem like a pick that Mary Leeson would be pretty happy with because while Varus is banned, Aphelios is very similar, right? You got the
Mm-hmm.
ultimate that can be used as an engage tool, but it can also be used as damage for Aphelios. And then you've got the nice long range attacks. Very similar champions, except Aphelios requires an entire PowerPoint to understand how it works. But basically, it's just Varus, right? Here comes Urgot again blind. And the matchups across the board for the first three picks are pretty spread, right? We've got two junglers, probably, if Maokai's jungle. But other than that, every other matchup is different. So we've got the ability for RAR to ban top laners and supports. And we've got the ability for Baron Besties to ban something that goes with Senna and mid laners.
Yeah, Urgot. Well, we did see Urgot last game on RAR.
Yeah, I just meant like
Yeah.
for the first three picks, they've picked different lanes, so the bans can be targeted specifically without
Oh,
hitting
okay,
their own
okay, yeah.
matchups.
There's the Gwen
Gwen
again.
ban makes sense, but I wonder if Baron Besties has come up with a better answer to the Urgot as well, because Malphite did not seem like it was it.
Silence.
Silas ban makes a lot of sense. You're already picking a lot of R's that are pretty good for him. Specifically, Maokai R is a really big indication to play Silas, and Doki loves drafting Silas where it makes sense. So already okay into Ari. Get some nice R's from Maokai and Affiliates, and you're probably going to draft some other nice R's. So don't hate the Silas ban. I would like to see, however, a Tom Kench ban or something else that targets the Senna with a lane that could be annoying.
Okay.
Nico
Okay.
is an interesting ban. Would probably make the Ari have a difficult time. Like, there's no bad matchups for Ari, but there's definitely matchups that you just get
Would prefer
annoyed at
not to be
playing.
with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like, you should
I
probably
do
be
prefer not
favored
to.
or even in most matchups, but against Nico, your mental's already boomed, right?
Ah, the Galio returns.
There's no way. This is a bait
Yeah,
from
it
yesterday,
better
right?
be.
Is
Don't
Doki just
do it,
infatuated with
Pookie.
Galio this
Don't
patch?
do it.
Oh,
Don't
wait.
do it. Okay,
Okay.
Hue is
Hwei
back.
makes a lot of sense. Nox did pretty good on Hwei, despite how the game went, and then before it ended, pretty good
Yeah, he
performance from
pressured
Nox.
pretty well early
Yeah,
as
I think he
Hue,
did
so
exactly what he needed to do into Acel. I think it was more the macro and the team choices, especially by Doki, that caused them to lose their lead that Nox really built up by himself in a way.
how do you think he's gonna
Well,
do
with Doki's
against
help too.
against Ari? Because Ari's mid, right?
Yeah. So it's a lot different matchup than Acel. Arguably, however, it plays pretty similarly. Ari just has a little bit more options to try to get priority early. So I don't think he's going to get the free levels 1 through 3 that he did against Acel. But after that, they're pretty similar matchups, just wave clearing, trying to get good trades, and then
Mm-hmm.
making sure Ari doesn't roam. And, just being mages, because mages do mage things. Milio
Emilio.
is an interesting pick, especially into Senna. I think he could struggle against some of the Senna matchups, especially if you pick go Hui bot lane with Senna. I don't think they'd do that because Nox is pretty good on Hui, it seems. But there
Mm-hmm.
could be some options for sure.
Who we
Let's see what
got?
they pick,
Last pick, and we can figure out who's where. I mean, we're pretty sure
right?
we know where everybody is, but
Now I don't know.
Akshan. Really? Hmm.
I think it's Akshan Senna bot lane, but it could be Hui bot lane with Senna and Akshan mid. Um, Doki drafts are truly a sight to behold.
It's like I understand BB. I know where they're at. Now I'm confused.
So
I don't
Akshan
know.
is pretty interesting pick. It kind of goes against the Senna pick because it's really a snowball champion, although it can have some impact later in the game. Um, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay,
I don't know how I
so
feel
Senna
about
is
it.
not farming. That's pretty clear.
Yes.
Doki's playing Zac.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Urgot is top. And I
Feathers is
think it
on
just makes
Urgot.
sense to keep Nox on Hui. So I think it is Akshan bot lane with
Okay.
Senna not
Okay.
farming.
All right.
Um,
I mean, I'm
with
down with
Into Aphelios, that sounds really rough for the Akshan, but if Senna gains a root, Akshan could maybe get a really nice kill. Milio's not going to really pressure the Akshan that much, as
Mm-hmm.
much as like, because
They
he's
were
pretty
hoping.
short range, right?
Right.
But Milio's not really going to be punishing you for being short range as much as say a Nautilus would or a Lux would. I don't know. I can't say that I've seen the Akshan Senna matchups against other things that much. So
I barely have ever seen Akshan played at all.
right.
So
I don't think it's played much in coordinated play.
it'll
I
be
bet if you look at
all
champ select,
new.
let's see, does Sentinel have any games of Akshan played at all? It has
I can
4
tell
games of
you.
Akshan. Wow.
Because we have the champion boards.
4 games of Akshan. I wonder if they were played by
It's
RAWR.
all magic claps, you say?
No, I don't know how to see that, but
No. So you have to go to the weekly and look and see who did what because I don't have
oh,
it posted
gotcha.
that way. But our producer just said it that all the Akshan games are magic claps.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm expecting that Magic Ops is going to be playing this auction. I don't know why. Just a little birdie has,
Yeah,
made
I've
me
seen him.
thinking.
According to our champion stats page for Sentinel, Akshan has been played 4 times prior to this.
Hmm. All right, it
With
is Hawaii mid, which means presumably it will be Magic Ops on auction. With Senna not farming in the bot lane. I think it's an okay lane to do that in. I like Akshan most against something like Milio. I would really hate to pick Akshan into Nautilus or any other melee support. A lot of mage supports would be tough. Even the more magey enchanters like Sona,
Mhm.
Seraphine would be kind of tough. But I think Milio is kind of that ground where he doesn't really bring pressure on his own as much as he buffs the AD carry. And if Senna lands a
Right.
W, Akshan definitely can get a lot of damage done. So
Right.
I
Right.
don't know. It's a very interesting lane to think about, but rather than think about it, why don't we just watch it, right?
Yeah,
Which
let's
we
watch
will
it.
very
See how
soon.
it goes. By the way, guys, predictions are live, so make sure to get your bets in on who you think is going to take game 2.
Oh, also, anyone that betted for Baron Besties to win last game, I'm so sorry you were robbed. That's unfair. That's really unfair. You should really get your points back, but I guess Magic Class just
Guess
decided to
doesn't
win the
work that
game,
way.
so.
Magic Club said,
Oh my goodness. What an
Goalkeeper
interesting
stealing
end
points.
of the game. Either way, I expect this game will not end as excitingly, but the
I
lanes
mean, it
probably will
might.
be closer. Well, okay. It might. RAR
I
does love
mean,
to do.
it
I
might. You
love that
never
I
know.
mentioned that RAR loves to do bullshit because, I almost did it because it feels like they won't be able to pull it off at this level, maybe. And then they just do that. So,
Right, right. Like they people I have found it doesn't matter what team it is, somebody's always going to do something you don't expect and
yeah,
catches you
for
off
sure.
guard.
Especially RAR.
Yeah. Well,
Doesn't
he
matter
actually
which league it is. Doki might just show up to the Emerald League with Smite and double Smite. Doki might just show up to this league, start 4v5s all the time, actually win one and win the game off of it. It just happens sometimes. Let's see if
sometimes
anything
it
crazy
happens.
like that happens this game after a quick break.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know why I'm holding myself back.
I'm fighting inside.
Oh, I don't
Some days,
know why
days. I'm fighting inside.
I'm holding
Some days,
myself back.
days. I'm fighting inside. Some days, days. I'm fighting inside. Some days, days. I'm fighting inside. 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 Some days, days. 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 I'm fighting inside. 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 I'm fighting inside.
Hello, welcome back to Game 2 of Baron Besties versus RAWR. I want to say it's BB1 RAWR 0, but it's actually reversed. It's RAWR 1 BB 0. And if you don't know why because you're just joining us, I recommend you go back to Game 1.
Ninja boot.
Either way. Nice level 1 here. Doki's jumping in early, so that way anyone that was in try wouldn't see anyone and get knocked up. However, no one was in try because Baron Besties is playing a little safe.
Yeesh.
So they get the ward over. They will see if Maokai starts there, and Baron Besties gets a ward on the red, so they will know if Zac starts there. Pretty nice parody of junglers knowing the starts of each other. I kind of like games like that because it means informed decisions for both junglers. At the same time, having to guess where the enemy jungler is also kind of cool, and learning from clues like which laners appeared where, which lanes are playing aggressive, is also fun. But this time they will see that Maokai is not on his red and assume he's somewhere else, and see that Zac is not on his red and assume that he's somewhere else.
Okay,
Either
nice
way,
little start.
normal
start.
items everywhere except Corrupting Pot for Hui. I've not seen that much. Did Corrupting Pot get buffed this patch? That's 3 Corrupting Pots. I definitely missed something this patch. I guess it's very good now, or they just feel like it'll help the stability. I apologize that I didn't realize there was a patch today, so I didn't read the patch notes fully before
okay.
getting on cast today.
I mean, it happens.
Right. Junglers taking the slow route. Pretty simple.
Yep.
I expect Doki to do. Oh wait, actually, not the slow route for Almond. I spoke too soon. He's not going for his wolves. He's going for an Urgot camp. Feathers is also in a pretty bad position here. He does have flash, although he might not have to use it because of the good flip.
Oh.
So he just loses health and priority in the lane, but Almond loses a lot of tempo for that. And in fact, Almond's walking back a very strange way. So he's going to lose even more tempo. And I think Feathers, it kind of sucks in solo queue to give up your lane pressure for tempo in the jungle. But in this kind of situation, like Doki, mess him up. And now Doki, as you can see, is either going for a bot lane gank with that tempo or for an invade. And either could be devastating. It looks like an invade for now. And I don't think Maokai is going to go to his Krugs first. So this will be a pretty effective one.
And it does look like Hui is being pretty aggressive in his mid lane.
Yep. I feel like Ahri versus Hui is more of a skill matchup levels 1 through 3. So the fact that Nox Lucifer has turned back around and even gotten prio in this one has a health advantage. Maybe on the back of that Corrupting Pot. It definitely shows why Nox has picked Hui twice in a row.
Right.
Oh, never mind, that didn't root him. I thought that rooted Wu for a second. Definitely would have been painful if so.
Yes.
Feathers is not doing too poorly for that cheese gank. Maokai gave up a camp and had to recall at a bad time, only getting a pink ward for the recall. But Almond's here. So it doesn't even matter. Nox does not care. He's just ignoring. It might die as well, but that's totally worth it. He doesn't even have to if he flashes out because Almond does not have the damage. So Nox just saying, Almond, I see you. I do not care. Gets Wu's flash and gets a kill. And it looks like you can't even just rely on picking a better champion in lane if you let Nox have Hui. He will still bully you on the Ahri.
Oh,
and apparently bullied him so much that we're going to get a game pause. Presumably pretty soon. Oh, nope, just an immediate reconnect. Okay. Either way, this is not good news for Baron Besties, where they've had 2 opportunities to answer this way in draft. Yes, the first time they blind picked, but had more opportunities to answer it later in the draft with a jungle pick or anything. And Nox's Hui has just completely obliterated Kim Wu by 3 minutes in both games.
Yep.
Oh, this route is pretty good. I mean, Akshan is such a strange character, but Akshan, Senna are now in trouble. No route available, and actually Akshan gets rooted. And that's one thing he does have over other AD carries. He could just grapple to a wall and ignore Almond just like Nox did.
I mean, it seems to be working out for him.
Yeah, I mean, it applies pressure. Like most AD carries, it might be a bit short range. But that doesn't really matter whenever you have Senna. She's kind of like your auto attacker in a way. You get the minions and she auto attacks the enemy champion from far away. So
Doki's taking grubs and BB is going for dragon.
Yeah. So this usually favors the team that gets dragon if the dragon is a high priority one, like Infernal. However, Akshan and Senna are saying something about it. Almond does not have tempo. See how he's still level 3 because of the recall and all the camps that he gave up? I'm not sure they win this fight, and Zac will be coming. and
Oh,
Almond is going to go down. I think Nox is not in a good position either. He's going to die as well, but the dragon will certainly be stopped. Yes, Jonicus might go down here, but Zach is still coming,
whiff.
and Magic Clouds wants to go aggressive. Does go the barrier
Ah!
from... the dragon kills Milio! Oh my goodness. So Milio barriered onto Filio, saving Mary Leeson, but dies instead to the dragon. However, because the dragon was still aggroed, Doki just comes in and pretends he was taking the dragon the entire time. On vision, however. So I think that Kim Jwoo, despite his deficit, is trying to do something about it. It's just not clear if he can, because no one else is coming. Almond is even prioritizing this top fight. But look at Almond, he's still level 3. He's so far behind.
There it goes.
So once again, RAWR has gotten a lot of what they looking for, right? They only got 1 grub, to be fair. Beer and
thought they
Besties
got
went
2.
over and got 2.
Oh, okay.
But they get the dragon, they get a few kills, and they are once again in the driver's seat. And this time, Kim Jwoo is not on the dragon as insurance, so it's up to Mary Lee Sin to get a random pentakill again, I guess.
Right. He's going, hey, who's got my lunch?
Doki is looking for an invade, or getting an invade here, but he might also go for the dive bot lane. I don't think it's very advisable, however. Akshan and Senna are not the best diving champions. I mean, I'm sure Akshan is. I haven't seen him enough to say that for sure. But I don't really like diving with Senna, even if Zach is really good at it. Magic Club's actually trying to stay for a cheeky 1v2 or 2v2 with Doki. Doki's calling it off. He's starting a recall.
Yep. He got the camp.
Feathers is winning this lane again as well. It looks like Poppy is not exactly the counter they were looking for to this Urgot. I mean, it's doing fine. Don't get me wrong. Poppy will not be in trouble as long as no solo kill goes on. So you can definitely pick this again. But it's not going to be a strength for them like you would like whenever Urgot is picked twice in a row and you have counter pick. Magic Cop's still looking for the cheese. Doki has finished, not recalled actually. Maokai, however, might sound the alarm because those Krugs are gone. He's going to walk into the bush. This is really awkward for Doki because he doesn't have backup. Akshan and Senna cannot get to him. However, they started the fight on Mary Lee said. Zaka comes in, flash out, but this 3v3 gets really hard because Magic Clops has not recalled. However, he still has Airden parity actually, just from how far ahead he was before. So I take that back. It's just gonna be a flash out of Mary Lee Sin to dodge the Zac E. Cannot do it again if it comes in again. Doesn't. And Almond is still behind on tempo despite Doki literally staying in that bush for about 45 seconds.
Yeah, doing nothing. Like, I don't really understand. He just kind of stood there. He gave up his chance to have a gank of 3v2 and waited for Almond to show up before jumping in.
Yeah, I think they were just concerned. They wanted Senna to back because of the low health and how much gold that Jonicus had. But that unfortunately meant that everyone else, everyone else wasted their time imagining that they could do it without the Senna before they realized this isn't that smart.
I guess I just don't understand why Doki would just stand there and do nothing for so long.
Okay, let me tell you something, okay? Regardless of any criticism, the one thing you do not want to do is try to understand Doki, okay? He is on a different level, all right? Sometimes it works. Most of the time we sit there going, wow, Doki, that was really dumb. But sometimes we go, wow, Doki, that was really dumb. And then it works. And then we're like, wait, Doki, you're so smart. Okay? So just don't try to understand him. You will get egg on your face every time, okay? Just pretend that there was a reason.
I'll still be confused as to why he does things.
Right?
I thought he stood still so long, I thought he had like lagged out or something. Like, for real.
That's a strat too. I bet Doki would do that too. Don't put it past him. Lag out on purpose to hype up the enemy team and then punish them when they think they've got the advantage. Nox still doing pretty good in this lane, despite Ari having 2 kills from that dragon fight. I think he'll still be able to have some kind of advantage.
I mean, he's 2 kills, 1 death, 1 assist. She's 2 kills, 1 death.
Yeah, although this charm might make it not matter. 1 assist doesn't matter if you run into an Ari charm. But Zach is here, just still a little late. Senna is here in spirit. The ignite is ticking. Doki doesn't want to chase, however.
They said, no, it's okay. You go that way. We're going to give the lane to my buddy here.
Yeah, but honestly, Doki being there and Senna ult having to be committed purely because Nox got hit by a charm is a pretty good sign. Grub's fight is kind of important. If Maokai can get all three, they'll get the special summon that makes Grubs worth it. I don't think that Doki really wants to contest this. The solo lanes on his side are leaving, so he wisely backs off the red buff, and it will be 5 Grubs for the side of Baron Besties, which was really good with someone like Aphelios.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the gold lead is on RAWR side. They do have the... Oh, that was a really nice interrupt and a really nice root. I think that's a kill. Barely lives, then dies to the burn damage from Milio passive or something. I don't remember exactly how that works. Kind of funny looking. Meanwhile, Kim has to flash away from Doki. And they're not getting as many advantages as they were last game from the mid lane. But it's not exactly like Nox is doing shabby work either. It's just not as overpowering as he was in the last game.
It's just a harder fight this game.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, top lane looking like maybe the Poppy pick was the one. You're not making the Urgot do nothing, but you're not letting him do anything either. So, he's just kind of sitting there trading and farming, which is kind of what you want if you're trying to play through the other lanes.
All right, so are we gonna see a team fight, or are they gonna let RAWR take this Baron?
I mean, Almond's still down a level. The solo lanes have lost tempo because they committed it for the Grubs. I think they're just gonna let this dragon fall, which will be the second dragon. What soul it is will be pretty important here. Ocean, not... Oh, wait. Kim is kind of caught, has to ult. But that's the thing about Ahri ult, right? It's kind of a get out of jail free card that you get very often. Okay, so Ahri will be, vulnerable for the next minute. Akshan's vulnerable now, however. Maokai ult is coming. I don't think it quite reaches. It's going to be close. Flash out. It does reach.
Got it.
Maokai ult always surprises me. But the tower will also reach, and they'll be fine.
That's dirty. I'll move on. Yes.
So there's a lot of tower pressure. Akshan not the greatest at wave clear. But Mary does not want to commit because he's not sure where Doki is, which is good because Doki is right behind him. Kind of like a jump scare. Here it comes. No flash from Mary. Actually, yes, he does have it up now, but it might not matter if he gets CC'd. Flash out comes in now. Teleport as well. Akshan ult going to be blocked by Emilio. Plus the Emilio healing means Mary is ready to fight again with the increased range. Meanwhile, mid lane, huge fight. If Ahri does not land a charm here, she does not. Nox should get this solo kill. Barely living as well. Meanwhile, I don't think they want to go for the dive here, but they're getting at least a play. Doki comes in to try to stop this. And Maokai is a little bit in no man's land. I don't know if he runs out in time. It looks like he does because Doki does not have the jump up. So they will just use that aggression for a play. That was a lot closer mid lane than I thought it was. Nox had flash. And he held it because he calculated and knew he would live on around 7 health. And that's just what a sign of good mid laner, When you do that math in your head and say, yeah, I've got enough health. I'm going to hold my flash.
It's all good. It's all good. Oh, goodness. I do like how it almost
word for fun?
Bo5 from BB
down
on bot lane.
So, to be clear, I was saying that Urgot was doing nothing. I was not accounting for the tower damage. Getting first tower without either jungler being top lane at all is pretty powerful for someone like Urgot.
Here comes Moxie. Moxie, I don't know that that's a good
They don't want to really fight this unless Moxie can get a really good ultimate. If he can ult correctly at the right time, he might be able to steal. Otherwise, this fight is doomed. He just gets Urgot out, so there's no way that he gets the Rift Herald. Now he just has to make sure he doesn't die. I don't think Hoi is going to be able to land CC, however. So it's going to be a pretty clean Herald take. They do lose bot lane for it, but they have nowhere to go because now Maokai is behind them. No summoners, just magic claps going down as well. And Almond is willing to give up the Rift Herald if they get 2 kills in the bot lane and trade towers bot lane.
Yeah, that was... It's a little spicier this game. It's a little spicier.
Yeah, for sure. There's no pentakills yet, but the game is a lot closer. And there's no inevitability in this game like there was last game. Last game, it was like RAWR was on a ticking time bomb where ASOL was going to win the game unless you had a miracle Magic Ops backdoor, which, may have happened or not.
May have.
But this game, there is no ASOL that's going to turn the corner for Baron Besties, so they have to rely purely on their macro and Mary Lee Sin's power as a strong ADC. Remember, last game, Mary Lee Sin did not die.
Mm.
He had about like 10 kills, did not die, still lost the game, funnily enough. Kind of weird how that works. And has not died yet this game. Liv, however, in a lot of trouble. Might not be the same case, will go down to Nox. And now Kim Jwoo will not get
Well,
feared, so he'll be fine.
yeah, he'll get out safe and sound.
Yeah, but really, it's the game is about Mary Lee Sen here. I think for Baron Besties, it's their one avenue back into this game, which is kind of the draft, right? Like Kim Jwoo can definitely do something in the fights, but your Philios is really where all your eggs are. And Mary is, to his credit, definitely delivering.
He is
So
definitely trying.
yeah, not failing yet. However,
Not
this
giving.
game, he's not as safe as he was on the Varus last time, right? There's still the
Yeah.
Maokai, but not as much CC coming through from the rest of the team. Just Poppy, really, as the other defender. And Milio, not in CC
Eh,
wise, but a lot
yeah.
of shields and heals, of course. So this third dragon, Ocean Soul is not really that impactful this game, so it's not everything, but still, giving
Right.
up third dragon does not feel good. And I believe that Baron Bestie should know that they're about even in gold, like a 2k gold lead at this point is something, but you can get over that with good play at this level for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
I'm
not enough
curious
to
if they
really.
try to fight it. It looks like they're giving up prio on it right now for mid prio. Doki is going to look because he knows there's a ward, pink ward on dragon, so they know they can't see him. However, he gives up prio pretty quickly because Akshan is not here yet. Magic Cups will be on the way. But I'm wondering if this is going to be a similar mistake. Remember, this is how Mary got a pentakill last time. Doki went in for the steal. They did not go in for the fight until after the dragon was dead. And Doki engaged purely for the steal. If he waits that long again, Feathers is not here as well. Doki's going in for an engage, but there's no Feathers yet, no Poppy yet. Doki is taking a lot of damage. He has passive. Meanwhile, Almond also taking a lot of damage. Will die. But the Hue ultimate hits a lot of people while Almond dies. So now, RAWR has position on Dragon. They are up a member, and Doki still has passive and finds Kim Jwoo. It is purely on Mary Lee Sin. Poppy is coming in. Urgot is coming in. The Dragon goes down, and they've used their teleport. They're not going to find the fight afterwards. At most, maybe they could collapse on the Urgot. It looks like they want to recall, but Urgot will not let them. And Liv is going to go down. Moxie's going to get feared, and he is also going to fall. There's no way Mary Lee Sin pulls a pentakill out of this one and goes down as well. And suddenly, RAWR has snowballed this lead to a point where they don't need the backdoor. They can march down the base pretty damn soon.
Yup. Yup. Dang. I was like, here's your death, Mary Leeson. We owed it to you last game.
It really feels like Baron Besties took the wrong message from game one.
Right. I
They just
believe.
Doki is gonna get onto this Ari. Ari ult being down means this tower has a lot more pressure on it. However, the Herald will fall, so it'll be the next tower that has more pressure
Yep.
on it because Ari doesn't have ult.
Woo.
It feels like they decided what they needed to do was beat Nox Lucifer in lane, so they picked a champion that would be more likely to do it, and they still couldn't quite pull it off.
Yeah.
And
Nox
now
is
they don't
definitely.
have the safety valve that is Asol. Meanwhile, Kim Jwoo probably gonna fall here. Does not have ult, so that's another kill for Magic Collapse.
Yes.
And not having the safety valve of Asol is costing them dearly. They can't really afford to hope to scale up now, right? And with these macro decisions that have just not quite worked out either. Even the Poppy pick did not do as much as it wanted to. It kept Urgot at bay a little bit, but not for the tower's sake. Magic Collapse might find Moxie as well. There's no one here. They don't know that, though, so it might be difficult for them to commit to a top laner. They just want to get the red
Oh,
buff
Nick is just
instead.
like, no, it's okay. I'll play. Oh, goodness. Let's see what
Yeah,
we
and
do.
this Hue is just a huge problem. I think banning Asol was the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Maybe the only answer is to bait Nox into picking a champion like Asol where you can punish him early, unlike this Hue. Because if you give him Hue, it looks like he will absolutely destroy Kim
Bouncing.
Jwoo in lane no matter what matchup you pick.
And Baron is up, but it looks like we're gonna play mid.
Doki just gonna get charmed. I
Doki.
believe he has passive. I'm gonna check real quick. Does not have passive, so if he dies here, it's gonna be a pretty long death cooldown. Will go down surely. Mary Lee Sin gets it. I don't think that Baron Besties really has any opportunity to get anything from it, and now their top laner is gonna die 1v1. So it is still parity on the map, and they're losing their top inner tower, which is only gonna snowball Feathers much more. And Feathers wasn't necessarily that big of a factor last game, but he's certainly a threat this game. Okay, so they're gonna try to collapse on Feathers, but I just don't think Kumju has the damage. And
Nope.
I guess Almond doesn't think that either. So he
Has gone
diverts
back
to
mid.
trying to protect mid, yeah. And Magic Claps do Magic Claps thing, you know.
All down
Looking
there,
at that
guys.
inhibitor.
Like, I see you. I got ninja boots.
like
I can put them on.
Magic Claps, you don't have to backdoor. I promise. You can win this game on the merits of team fights. But he's like, well, you know, it's always fun. Actually, a lot of damage on Almond, but he has MR, so he'll be fine. Actually, he doesn't have MR. Interesting. I guess he's really scared of their AD threats, which is fair. There are a lot of AD threats, but it feels like Hui is going to do a lot of damage to him, just because Hui has so much AoE.
They really all just backed and gave up basically mid tower.
I mean,
Was it for
they
item
have to
buy?
give up a lot here. They have to pick their fights so carefully, and it's really difficult to pick your fights correctly whenever you've got Doki on Zac, right? Because even being in position to try to protect things without wanting to fight can lead to Doki jumping in on you. And this time he may be able to jump in on you under tower and make those fights work more effectively than he did last game. This is soul spawning, by the way. And I think Ocean Soul isn't the most impactful, but giving it over while you're already this far behind could just be enough to slam the door shut. For Baron Besties, Doki looking for a fight. Only gets onto Almond, really, but Kim Jwoo is going to get knocked up. Kim Jwoo has to use ult early, so Nox is probably going to be safe for the remainder of the fight. Moxie trying to fight Magic Clops, probably wins the 1v1 in best of circumstances, but does not in this case. So has to ult him away, which is actually towards the fight mid lane. So now Magic Clops, ironically, has a pretty good flank position, and they're going to utilize it. The Poppy ult puts Magic Clops into a great position. However, they're not able to capitalize because they realize they could, Baron Besties could just jump on Magic Clops. So they will just back up and be like, wait a second, Soul's over here. You have to come to us. And coming into Hui is a very difficult proposition. As you can see, Almond loses almost all of his health, and now Kim Jwoo has to tank an entire Akshan ultimate. Oh, but Jonicus kind of messing up. Jonicus is not on a tank this time, and it shows Doki now in trouble, goes into passive. They do not have Ocean Soul yet. They get the top laner, but Mary is on the wrong side, and Jonicus is alive again, and Soul will be theirs for the taking very soon.
Oh. Dang.
Yeah, and I think Doki is taking out his anger from losing the best of 5 yesterday and the best of 3 last week on the series. He's just like, I'm jumping in, I'm killing things. You can't stop me.
Right? He said, nah, we will not be kicked out of all 3 of the leagues this split. We will go to the finals.
Right?
So we'll see. You guys, we'll see. You've only got 1 win under your belt so far tonight, Doki. That's 4 more games that BB can come back and be like, nah. Although this one's not looking very good for BB.
Yeah, I said that it was difficult for RAWR to correctly draft for the remainder of the series after game 1. But I kind of feel like Baron Besties drafted themselves into a corner.
Yeah.
And did not take advantage of what information was revealed from game 1. They just kind of played into everything that RAWR did right and did not punish their weaknesses by picking Ahri. So Soul is over to RAWR. Probably not the most impactful Soul, but it is a Soul. You know, even the worst Soul is still pretty damn hard to outscale, especially whenever you don't have the A Soul to help with that.
So it looks like what Baron Buddies is going to have to try and defend their mid lane.
Doki can be pretty aggressive here. If he gets caught, it might be a lot of trouble for him, but he jumps out of the charm, and he'll be fine.
Doki likes to get himself into trouble when his team's not around. It's a
Oh
thing.
yeah,
I have noticed.
he loves it. So they're gonna start Baron here, and I just don't see how Baron Besties can face check. I mean, the Ocean Soul means that Baron's not really gonna do the damage that you would normally expect. Hui is gonna put down a lot of damage for you to walk through, and Ari doesn't have ultimate. Doki goes for the engage, not onto the carries, however. Just Liv is really the squishy one targeted. Mary Lee Sin is getting a lot of damage off. I just don't think it's gonna matter against Ocean Soul. Finally, Doki and Feathers are the target. You're not gonna kill Feathers anytime soon with Aphelios. Gets a really good
Oh,
ultimate
don't touch
onto the bot lane, but it's not enough to kill, and they're going to heal really fast from the Ocean Soul. So it's going to be a 3-for-0 and a Baron for RAWR. And you have to imagine that right now, Baron Bessie's thoughts are not on this game, but how they fix the draft for the next one.
game. Yeah.
And Magiclops deciding to backdoor rather than help his team with Baron because he just loves killing inhibitor towers by himself.
Yeah.
If he gets caught here, it'll be pretty embarrassing, but Akshan has a lot of tools, so I think he'll be fine.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. There's the Baron. And back.
Yep.
How are
Man, I
item
just
goes
don't-
looking?
I mean, Nox has 3 items. It's definitely the correct 3 items for this situation, and I think that he's just the biggest problem. I've got Feathers. I just look at Feathers, but Nox is not a problem if he gets charmed to the CC, however. This is a huge shutdown that they're going to give to Mary. And that's 1 less Baron.
Nox, you're not Doki. You can't go in solo and then think you can escape.
And now Magiclops is also in a little bit of trouble. I believe Moxie can delay till the rest of the team gets here. Yes, Magiclops would probably win the 1v1, but not whenever Milio is coming and Ari is coming, and suddenly they've lost 2 Barons. And their Baron power play is going to turn into an advantage for Baron Besties.
Yeah.
Yes, hence the name.
RAWR
And it's the worst time to lose 2 people is right after you take Baron. I guess the worst time would be right before they could take Baron, but still.
I mean, the problem right now is RAWR got Baron, and then when they came out of their backs, they've all split up, and they're getting taken out one by one.
Yeah, that's the negative side of trying to backdoor. Turns out it has
stay together,
disadvantages
guys.
too.
Stay together.
Speaking of which, Feathers is confident enough with the Hull Breaker to go bot lane. Poppy still has ult. If Poppy can delay long enough for Ari to come down, also has ult. Feathers might be in trouble. He's so committed here. Yes, he's 2 levels up on Poppy, but the flash and stun means you're not going to get enough damage on her. Senna ult melts a little bit. If you land the Urgot ult, you'll get at least 1 kill. But they don't even get that, and it's 3 shutdowns in a row after RAWR has taken the Soul and the Baron.
I said move as a team. We're in team fight phase, guys.
They just want to put the pressure on because they know they're in the lead. However, if they keep this up, they won't be in the lead for long.
No.
Elder Soul's in a minute. Now, luckily, no one's going to be dead for Elder Soul unless someone gets caught once again. Surely. No one's going to get caught for the 4th time in a row. Surely. And that will be a major boon if RAWR is able to get Elder in this situation. I don't think that anyone's gonna get caught after getting Elder, right? Like,
right?
Surely.
No. We'll see. I can't say yes or no to anything right now.
True. So it's just a question of how Baron Besties wants to contest this Elder. It's super hard to set up a formation in Elder whenever Doki has the ability to jump on anyone grouped up. You kind of want to group up to be able to come in as a unit, but if you do that, you risk Zach jumping in on you, ulting, and then Nox having a major ult on you.
Don't do it, Hui.
I think Hui's just going for vision. I think he'll be fine, but he could possibly make a misstep if he's not careful. He is kind of on the flank position, which is not where you want to be. If Baron Bestie somehow finds a fight right now while Magiclops has to teleport in, it could be enough. However, they do kind of have to answer Magiclops, and Elder has spawned. I don't know if they want to go for the fight first. They're actually teleporting Ari, which means the fight is pretty easy for RAWR if they teleport Akshan away. Let's see if Magiclops wants to go away or if he wants to keep backdooring. And it looks like Doki's just starting Elder. He does not care about needing the team. Here's Sway as well. And I don't know, it feels a little disjointed. If Magic Claps gets charmed, he could be in a lot of trouble. And the fight on Dragon Pit is suddenly a lot more even. A lot of your carries are in top side. Meanwhile, it's 4v3 in the Dragon Pit. I really wish Directed Camera would go to it. They're teleporting in Urgot, but Feathers is suddenly in the middle of the enemy team. It could be trouble. Jonicus goes down, but he's not really the carry here. The one to watch really is Nox. Ultimate lands onto Almond. Almond will separate from the rest of the team, but Moxie is also going down. Almond will be shortly after, and the rest of the team can't really do anything without that front line. So even though it was a 4v3 where Urgot had to teleport in, Nox will carry the fight, and Magic Claps has been able to push the Ahri off and get an inhibitor, which is pretty good whenever you're about to get Elder.
Yes. He decided to put his ninja boots back on, and but
yeah,
they're
but at
not
the
as
same
good as
time, you
last
can kind of
time.
stand here and be like, I'm taking your base. Like, literally tell them in all chat, I'm taking your base. And there's not what? Oh, Magic Claps?
I don't know what he
Well,
was doing right there.
the tower was a little bit more powerful than he thought. And I guess you cannot go in all chat, tell them that you're taking the base, and then suicide. Not the best strategy I've seen from Magic Claps. But it happens. You know, it just feels like RAWR's like playing with their food a little bit. Oh, and to the charm! Nox is also gonna go down here. The Seraph's Embrace Shield is only delaying. Senna ult will also delay. They have Elder.
Oh, no.
Actually, the delay is enough because of Ocean Soul and the fact that Elder is down and they don't want to commit too much. So Nox will live, but it's still just incredibly sloppy from RAWR.
Jonicus totally saved Nox right there.
Yeah.
Good
and
job,
it's
Jonicus.
just
We see
this is
you.
kind of the most frustrating game to play from blue side. This is more tilting than the back door in a lot of ways. You're sitting here watching them play with their food, make mistake after mistake where like they could play better. It's not them going, oh, wow, I really messed up. It's them going, oh, I bet I could do this. Ah, it didn't work. Oh, well, we're still going to win. And they still probably win. It's very frustrating to play this as Baron Besties, where you take what advantages you can get and you're still so far away from possibly catching up. Again, this is a 12k gold lead. This is a soul to no dragons. This is an Elder Dragon. It's going to be the second Baron. All of these structures are down. Meanwhile, only one tower is down for RAWR. And despite all of these shutdowns, all of these deaths, it's just so far out of reach for Baron Besties.
Here we go. Is this y'all's? Are y'all pushing? Are y'all in?
I think they're gonna group up as 5, which I know is a rare concept for Doki, but I think they figured it out. 5 apes together strong, 5 people together. Hit the inhibitor, hit the structures. Do not swing around the tower; that will kill you, and perhaps you can win the game. Oh, they're gonna go bot lane first. They're actually doing a textbook now, despite not doing a textbook for the last 10 minutes. They've decided now. Doki is doing a little bit of what Magic Claps did earlier, by the way, taking infinite tower shots. But Ocean Soul plus his passive means he's pretty safe. So playing with his food a little bit still, but a bit more controlled than the last 10 minutes. All inhibitors are down. Supers are coming in from top and mid. Nox is just an absolute monster with 4 items and a needlessly large rod, which is kind of like a full item in itself in a way. Elder Dragon is still up. These towers are going to fall soon, and RAWR is going to take it to 2-0. In a game that... Oh, Charm. Mary Lee Sin has a really good position. That's a really good ultimate. It should take out 2 carries. You only have to deal with Urgot now, but Urgot is quite the threat. Can Urgot win with Doki going into shield? Elder Dragon also ticking. Now, Feathers, it is all up to you. You have Elder Dragon, but Poppy ults him away, and suddenly, again, Baron Besties holds. But it's so demoralizing to be at that spot where you hold time after time, but your Nexus is so low. What are you doing, Feathers? You are giving them more hope. Loses the GA, kills Mary Lee Sin somehow. But surely if a charm lands on his big body, actually, can Feathers just 1v4 and win the game on the spot? Kills Milio, is going to kill Moxie, is going to kill the Nexus, and Feathers just walks in the face of Baron Besties and literally ends the game.
That was insane.
I mean, it wasn't as insane of game 1, but if game 1 didn't happen, I would be like, what the hell just happened? Now I'm just like, okay, well, more of the same, I guess.
But it's not more of the same. That was totally
Oh
Totally
yeah.
a 1v. Like it was, yeah, it was so crazy. It was so crazy. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's what I like to
um,
see.
I just don't know how Baron Besties recovers from this. Like they learned some information from game 1, but what did you learn from game 2? Mostly to ban Hui, right?
Right. Don't let
Um,
Hui in. Don't let feathers on Urgot. I mean, that's
I feel like Feathers you can leave on Urgot if you can find some kind of counter. Malphite looked like it was struggling, but it didn't struggle as much as the Poppy in terms of how much gold Feathers got. But if you let Nox have Hui, you've shown that you. Oh, it looks like we're switching something up.
yeah, it looks like Kuronami is coming into mid to replace um um
Kim Jewel.
yes,
And I think this
Kenji.
makes sense. Sometimes whenever you have two bad lanes in a row, even if you eventually were able to turn around game 1 until it got turned on its head, it can be really important to take a small break, and it's nice to have a sub that can take over.
Yes. Kuro is pretty good. I've seen him a couple splits now. He's always done a pretty good job. So we'll see if he can manage to make up that difference in mid lane that Kim Ji Woo was not able to do against Nox.
Right. Because it feels like it's not really a champ select difference for Kim Jwoo. It looks like if you allow Nox to have Hui, he just struggles to deal with the early game pressure that Hui can have.
Oh gosh, sorry. I was reading the lobby chat and RAWR was being notified of the player switch in mid lane, and apparently Doki thought that he was already in, and he was not. Yes.
A little bit of
So
confusion. Either way. Again, teams always have 5 minutes if they want it.
they do. They do.
RAR might actually take it this time because they are trying to scout out certain things.
And no
Doki
surprise,
has
RAR
sent.
is staying red.
Yeah. And I mean, it's really just like, can you make Nox prove that he can play something other than Hui at that level? Because his Hui is not beatable for Kim Jwoo, and I'm not sure I would want to risk game 3, which is a deciding game.
Right. If RAR wins
That
game 3,
Kuronami
it's
can do it.
over for the night. It is over for the night. Scarlet Feathers is talking to you. To
Oh
note,
no.
viewers, we will be going to a 5-minute break as the teams have requested that they get their 5.
Thank you.
So we will see you back for draft in a few minutes.
Yeah. So we'll go to a quick break, I think.
just your little secret. I didn't hear the sirens. I didn't wanna see the warning signs, and now I pay the price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave every time you say my name. It hits me like a tidal wave. It hits me like a tidal wave. A tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave. I was so blind, waiting patient on the shoreline. Now you're leaving, but I know you got your reasons too. I didn't hear the sirens. I didn't wanna see the warning signs, and now I pay the price, yeah. Oh, I should've known. It hits me like a tidal wave every time you say my name. It hits me like a tidal wave. It hits me like a tidal wave. A tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave. Tidal wave.
She galvanized me, steady like steel, back on my feet, living for the thrill again, loving for another day. She satisfied me, gave me what I want, just what we need, never too far away, loving for another day. But she asked for it.
Okay, welcome back to the series. We're gonna get into draft pretty soon. RAR is 2-0, and they have answered the draft questions of Baron Besties pretty well. Now Baron Besties need to come up with answers of their own. Because how did they answer Nox Lucifer on Hui? I mean, the obvious answer is to ban it.
Right.
Just a question of if that will deter Nox from just taking some other mage and completely destroying whatever mid laner they throw at him. Because now, instead of Kim Jwoo, they have brought in Kuro Nomi to be mid lane, and maybe Kuro Nomi's nerves are just a little bit better for these kinds of games. Maybe just a
It'll be
little bit more
interesting to
experience
see.
against mages. Yeah,
To
maybe
see
their answer to Nox is just switching
just
players. They
Kuro.
don't have to worry about
Yeah.
Hui anymore.
Hopefully, just side thing. Double check your mic. You're breaking up. Also,
Oh, sorry.
we'll see how Kuro does. I hope he does really well. And can help that answer against Nox. But there is always the worry of the player coming in cold.
Okay, let's look at the draft itself.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Okay, Alawi Van still coming in from Baron Besties. What will they update though? Were they really going to go with the same 3 bans after going down 0-2? Oh no, Azel was a change they also made, which is one that I don't agree with, but one they have stood by, and maybe Kuronomi isn't really as comfortable on Azel, so maybe it makes more sense here. Urgot ban, as you said, was important, but Hui is open. Does
And so is
Kuronomi play
Smolder.
it?
Smolder
I mean,
is
it's going to
also
get
open.
banned here, surely, right? Surely RAR doesn't let it through.
Unless RAR thinks that they're not going to take it. We'll see.
And this is what I think Baron Besties should have asked a lot earlier in the series, because as you can see, they get a free ban out of RAR by not banning Smolder on blue side. This
Oh,
is the
there it
3rd
is.
game on blue side, and it's the first time they forced RAR to ban it. It's immediately obvious to people that have been paying attention to the meta that RAR really had to do this.
Yeah.
And
Smolder's a little
Baron
OP right
Besties has
now.
essentially been giving up a free ban and letting RAR have a free ban by banning Smolder themselves. They are picking the way, however, as a semi fourth ban. It seems that Chronomi was probably brought in because he feels comfortable on the way. And now they're asking the question, Nox, you do great on Hwei, but can you answer it in the same
Can
way?
you play on something else? Let's see,
Hmm.
Kuro. Let's see.
Okay, so Smolder was nerfed. I only briefly looked at the patch
Ooh,
notes. It
Kuro
just
does
doesn't feel like it's enough.
Kuro does
I could be
play.
wrong. I haven't played it yet. The patch was obviously only live today. The players probably haven't played it much yet either. But
Uh,
honestly, like
he was
I'm not
from
impressed with the
from what
nerfs.
I understand, he had a small nerf, but it didn't really affect his gameplay too much overall. From what we've seen, he still comes across pretty OP from what
Okay, so
we have
by
seen.
the way,
But
their answer is to take away the Hwei, but Doki Zack was pretty good. Yes, Jonicus on Senna wasn't really able to pull much out of that lane. I don't think Jonicus was a major factor of why RAR wins, but it is an insurance policy that if RAR even gets behind, if they can make the game last long, Senna might be able to do something about it.
yep. To note, Kuro does play Hui. He's got an 83% win rate on Hui.
Hmm.
Uh, so far this
I
split.
like the Sejuani. Maokai
So,
has been doing a lot, but Sejuani just feels like it's a little bit more targeted. And the way that RAR has worked so far is that they've had one really strong carry, being able to take that strong carry out with an R button immediately instead of waiting for the Maokai R that will tank other people seems
oh,
really
come
good.
back with
And
the
look at
Varus.
this. Varus is open purely because Baron Besties did not ban Smolder.
Mm.
RAR last time banned Aatrox, MF, Varus. This time they had to replace the Varus with a Smolder ban, and Varus is free. And this is an adjustment that I felt like should have been made in game one. And they get rewarded here for it by getting the Varus that essentially won them the first game. Technically, asterisk, RAR won that game. But
The
and I
Baron
think that
Besties
Akshan
shouldn't have won.
Senna, and then I don't think Akshan Senna is the answer to this Varus from what I saw from game one.
Yeah. Varus is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Uh, bet you he's going to be trying for another Penta. Sad he
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
manage to.
it does seem like something that Mary Leeson would be want to do.
Yeah, yo. Who else we
Bans
got?
here are kind of interesting.
A Moo Moo. No? Gwen.
Going with
Keeping
the
with the
same
Gwen.
top lane bans is RAR, and to be fair, this is valid. Even if Baron Besties has taken away the Urgot, they have shown that their top laner just was not able to match Feathers. So taking away champions from that pool of opportunity will help Feathers to be continue to be dominant as he has been in the first two games.
All right. There's
Nico ban has been
Nico
consistent.
ban.
Maokai ban means they think that could go support. It would be a lot of CC if they pick the Maokai, but I feel like there's so many options open for support with Varus whenever you're against Sen and Akshan. It can be basically any melee. Like Nautilus would be really good here. Even something like the Taric or um I don't know, just any melee support essentially. Rel
Hmm.
feels like it could do a lot of work here. Now, what is Nox Lucifer going to take into his own champion? Playing Hwei for 2 games, now he has to pick something into it, and it's probably going to be this pick so they can have counter pick top lane.
Let's
Uh,
see. Are you
looks
taking
like.
it? Are you taking it?
Oh, no, no,
Don't
no.
hover
This
the
is bait. This is
Galio.
a bait. This is
That's
a bait.
like
This is a bait.
that's
Stop
like
it. It's bait. Don't pick it up. Don't
PTSD.
invest.
Don't do it. Don't
Don't
do it.
invest. That's not real. The
Very
Vagar
hard.
is an interesting choice. It is a champion that I feel can struggle for the first few levels against Hwei. The Q range does not match how much damage Hwei can put out with his Q, unless Hwei does not respect it enough. However, it certainly has the ability to get later into the game, stop a Sejuani in her tracks, and kill a Varus outright with an ultimate. Renekton blind pick is a very risky pick. Moxie has been playing these tanks for the first 2 games and really been trying to outlive and outlast Feathers. Now you're going to be on the aggressive side of that equation, and it looks like Feathers, has the ability to play the aggressive side himself. Will he be able to withstand it? Nautilus, again, makes a lot of sense into something like Akshan Senna. Akshan short range, Senna
Mhm.
easy to engage on. I feel like bot lane has been secured for Baron Besties as a secure winning lane. So what would you pick into Renekton for Feathers? Urgot is not available. You could just try to outscale him, but I feel like that devalues what Feathers brings to the team. It wouldn't be the worst to pick another aggressive tank or champion. They decide to go instead with Ornn and put Feathers on to the Ornn duty.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, this looks like RAR is just trying to do more of the same. Not being able to not being able to not being able to have Hui and Urgot might make a major deficit in their strategy. I still think Baron Besties could make a few more adjustments to really capitalize off the information they got off of game one, but having Varus again could be the difference that they need to pull out a win of the series.
Oh,
I mean,
goodness, there's the
playing
orange.
through bot lane was their golden ticket for last game, so it does feel like it's an option for this game.
Sorry, everybody, if you can hear my dogs. There's the bird in the backyard.
A bird? Well, why don't we all bark at it then? That seems like the correct solution
I
here.
mean, that's what they're doing. Sorry.
We need to make sure this bird knows this territory is ours.
Right.
Um, yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Feathers is not going to be able to be as aggressive as last time. However, in terms of lane matchup, playing Ornn into Renekton feels pretty good. You can shut down his aggression pretty easily and make him a much more difficult champion to play into the late game. So if Feathers can hold the fact that he's going to be on tank duty, you're just going to be sitting there, engaging late game, not really doing the damage, he can still have a little fun in lane with Renekton and probably bring his team the insurance they need. Because if RAR is able to drag this game out, the Senna and the Ornn probably brings a nice bit of insurance unless Mary gets another pentakill. One
Right.
big question is, how does Kuranomi play this lane? How does Nox react to playing against not only the champion that he's been playing for 2 games, but also a new mid laner?
Yeah,
And
this
then
one's not going to be quite as scared of him.
can Mary keep up the aggression that he has had all 3 games so far, all 2 games so far, and really punish this Akshan Senna pick? Because if so, suddenly Magic Claps might run out of magic tricks in his hat.
Yeah, he may leave his ninja boots at home.
Mm-hmm.
So we will
However,
see.
to be clear, Doki on Zac every game has looked pretty good. There were definitely some questionable moments, but there was never a moment where it looked like Doki should be playing a different champion, even whenever he engaged 4v5. That just looked like Doki maybe try having the whole team.
No,
Except whenever you're backdooring, I guess.
Zach is definitely Loki's one trick. So he's
Yeah,
very, very
so letting
good.
Doki have Zac 3 games in a row whenever you're already down 2 games is pretty risky. But if Baron Besties can play through the bot lane, if they can make Nox less of a factor, and if they can allow Feathers to just not be having that pressure that he's had the previous 2 games on Urgot, I think they do have a path forward to victory with this draft.
Mm-hmm.
It really is a question of this Zac, however. I feel like Hui is a bit vulnerable to Zac ganks against Veigar. You can imagine Zac jumps in, Veigar cages, and you've got nowhere to go if you don't have flash. Um, and if that kind of cycle happens, Veigar suddenly becomes a menace as well. So honestly, Baron Besties playing through bot lane is their best option, but they've got to make sure that they don't lose the mid lane as hard as they've lost it the last 2 games. And, making an adjustment of bringing in a new mid laner is one way to do that.
It is. Absolutely is.
And I do like Liv on Nautilus. I think Rakan would have also been acceptable. Liv's Rakan the first game was pretty good. But Nautilus punishes the Senna Octane lane so hard. And yes, it's a little bit more vulnerable to Zac. However, I think that Baron Besties has been able to weather the storm of Zac coming bot lane before. It's just a
So we'll
question
see
if
how
they
they
can
do
do it on
game 3.
Nautilus.
Can they hold
Hmm.
out and take a game, or are they done for the split? Predictions
It would
are
be
live.
interesting if they got 3-0'd after these series of drafts. And I think it would be also very hard for Lotus to look at these drafts and learn what they need to do other than ban
Ban Zach.
Hui and Zach. Yeah.
That's, you know.
Either way, we're going to have to figure out how game 3 goes because we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. We don't even know if RAWR is moving forward or if a reverse sweep is possible. But if it is possible, it's going to start right after this break.
She asked for something more. She asked for, yeah, she asked for something beautiful. She asked for, yeah, she asked for, she asked for.
Welcome to Game 3 of Baron Besties versus RAWR. Baron Besties is on the edge of elimination, and they have allowed Doki to pick Zach for the third game. Here comes the level 1. It's going to be a bit more explosive because Nautilus is on the map, and it looks like both teams are running into each other, or at least Nautilus is running into RAWR. However, they see him well before it happens. Do they want to take this fight? Usually you don't want to fight against Nautilus, but Doki wants to. Gets hooked. Here comes the entire team. Cage collapses on absolutely everyone. Flash out from Nautilus, but now Feathers has to flash. It's still very low. The heal comes out from Jonicus, and it looks like Baron Besties is pulling out control, and Vagar had to start E, which is horrific for his lane. But no kills will go over.
Woo. that was stressful for nothing. They got.
I mean, not nothing. Having Nox start E and all of these summoners out, heal from Jonicus, ignite from Doki, flash from Feathers, flash from Liv, and exhaust from Liv, is actually a pretty big deal, especially mid lane. We've seen how Hui, yes, it was Nox's Hui, can pull an early lead off of early trades. Nox does not have the ability to do anything except for auto tag. That Cage is not really an ability level 1. And as you can see, he is going to have to back up like crazy. This is a completely different lane for Nox than the ones he's been used to. However, that Q missing is a pretty big deal. This Cage doesn't mean anything. Kuro can just stand there and take the auto tax and trade back just fine.
Alright. Let's see. Got a gank up top.
Yeah, this is a pretty early gank by Almond once again. However, it seems like it's going to be a lot more effective. The stun is coming out. Feathers does not have flash because of the level 1. They are not able to finish it off. And Almond, once again, is using a lot of tempo. This time it's a bit more effective. But Feathers is on a more defensive top laner as well. It's okay for him to be behind. This is quite the deficit, however, as he goes in and takes more damage. Oh, huge hook. I think the spot lane is really a power point for Baron Besties. And you can see why if Akshan gets hooked, he is in a lot of trouble, and that's only going to increase as the levels increase, and Mary Lee Sin becomes more powerful in the lane. Okay, Feather's actually going pretty aggressive. Teleports in, is trying to get some trades. However, he has to be careful. If he just trades health across to Moxie, and Moxie teleports back in, Moxie will be able to heal. He will not be able to. So there's level 3, getting some really nice trades, but again, he has to either get a kill or such a big advantage that he could push in the wave before Moxie teleports in. This is pretty damaging. I'm just not sure that Moxie is going to feel the effects of it because he has that teleport in his back pocket. Pretty aggressive for Moxie.
Yep.
Think it's okay, though. Nox on a ward and just killing it out. So that way Doki has another path. That recall is pretty greedy. I don't think Feathers knows that he's in there. Oh, I'm not sure exactly how that interaction worked. It looks like I guess he missed by pixels.
I guess.
And again, Feathers now gets to teleport in, or Feathers. Moxie now gets to teleport in, and even though Feathers clearly won those trades, it doesn't matter because Moxie is full health and Feathers is not. But not that much of a health deficit, so I think he'll be fine with it. Also, this corrupting pot start on Ornn is very interesting. Doki, however, coming in, the Cage is now very impactful. Kuro not falling for it. Now it gets his own fear off, but the ignite in from Doki means that Kuro would just have to back off and cede wave control for now. Meanwhile, Almond paying more attention to the top lane. Last time, Almond only showed up once. However, the second attempt is not the best gank either. It looks like by the minimap, it is just going to be annoying, not any actual concrete lead, except Feathers loses the cannon because of it. And that really is the point of all ganks, is to make laners lose cannons, so. Although they're going in now, luckily Feathers buffers the E correctly, so I don't think it turns into anything more, unless Feathers wants it to. Just goes for a quick trade back. It'll be fine.
That's right.
And Almond's just laning now. This is so much tempo he's giving up. Yes, he's waiting for the Void Grubs to spawn anyways, but he's being outfarmed by Doki's Zac, who is ganking quite a bit. And that is definitely going to turn into a problem. Doki probably pathing towards this Mountain Drake. This is where Baron Besties made a mistake last time. However, Moxie not making a mistake by going in on Feathers. A lot
Yep.
of damage there. But what happened last time is they took one Void Grub and then they tried to contest the Dragon. It looks like they're willing to give it up this time. Mountain Dragon is very good. One of the best objectives you can get early. But honestly, with just Zac and then eventually Senna hitting it, it will take a while. So Almond should be able to catch up on tempo once again.
Mid lane's looking fun.
Yeah, it looks like Kuronami's not able to pull off the dominance that Nox was on Hui. However, it's not necessarily what is required of this lane, especially whenever Zac is on the enemy team. It's very hard to play aggressively into Zac. So not too much concern there. But it would have been nice if Kuronami could have taken it away and said, "Oh, let me show you how it's done."
This is how you play away.
Right. Moxie is level 6 over Feathers. I just don't think he has the opportunity to do anything but make sure it crashes. Nice freeze there for the bot lane of Magikarps and Jonicas. I thought this lane would be a lot harder for them, but they are keeping it pretty even in isolation without junglers present. Yeah, I mean, this is just like bouncing waves back and forth. CS is pretty even. And in that case, it's okay because you both scale about the same amount. Oh, but the pull here is pretty good. But Varus is not in position to punish, and Almond is just too far away. I don't think he wants to go for it. Gets pinged out here. So Almond, once again, going for a gank that is not going to bear any fruit. Although, not committing that much this time. Just showing up in the bush for a little bit.
I do feel like Baron Besties has purposefully slowed the game pace down. Last game they came out like really strong, trying to like force it in. Look, we can win. And it didn't work out.
Oh, another hook. This one might be the big one. However, Magikarps does have flash. The heal does come through from Jonicas. No flash having to be used.
No,
but they do get a summoner there in the 2v2. Well, top lane might turn to something eventually, just not yet.
Yeah, but we were in the middle of something.
Direct to camera does not care about continuity.
Does not.
Okay, Magikarp's pretty low here. Does have flash, but his other summoner is a teleport, not a combat one. So he has to be careful of this poke and certainly of Liv's hook. Pretty good trade here for Kuronami, but he has to be careful to trade back. Ultimate comes through. Can't quite follow up because of the cage field. It might not matter, however, as Nox has to flash. And Nox feeling the other side of the way and probably not liking it. Oh, flash forward, QEQ, QQ. Not quite able to find lethal because the EQ missed.
No first blood for you, Hui.
Almost. At least Hui gets to push in the wave here. There's no teleport for Nox Lucifer, so that will be a bit of a wave denial. If Doki has something to say about it, it won't be, however. No mana for Kuronami. And Almond is here. Senna ult's going to do a lot of damage. That might be the damage they need, but it doesn't look like Doki was ready for the Senna ult. So he backs off whenever Kuronami surely could have been killed.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that was communicated over their voice chat.
Yeah, fortunately the red line came and Doki was like, oh shit, I've got to back off. Wait a second.
Alright, I am an item nooblet. What the hell is an FB? First blood.
We're talking about first blood. Yeah.
Okay.
This game.
Is that an item? Like, I don't know.
However, it is kind of interesting that this game has had a lot of action, a lot of ganks, and no kills yet. Maybe we'll find one in the top lane, however. There's a lot of red circles coming up here for these Void Grubs. But Moxie backs off, and they instead go for the objective. And because of all these red circles up here, Mary is going to get a gift of a lot of gold. And Nox is in a lot of trouble. I don't think he's going to be able to call his team back. He's going to suffer those consequences. So it's going to be First Blood. Who gets it? It will be sent over to Kuronami. Meanwhile, top lane, barely short of First Blood. Magikarps will get a kill. And now this fight is very interesting. A lot of ultimates are down. There is no Hui ult. There is no Sejuani ult. Doki has passive. Goes to the corner. Is gonna jump in place. I'm not sure what that was. He uses passive now. Jonicas flashes out, which means Doki is surely dead. And the Void Grubs will be 4 for Baron Besties and 2 for RAWR. Meanwhile, Feathers not respecting that he's in danger. This is
Feathers.
a man who has not read the signs. There's a lot of red flags right now, and he's like, I'll just recall. It'll be fine. Liv, taking the tower first, but in an incorrect fashion. Ultimate from Hui means that's probably a dead Ornn. Renekton's going to try to secure the double knockup. Now Jarnagus is in trouble, but he also has the chance to kill Almond if he can just do it right. Does not matter. This Hui is popping off, but for Baron Besties this time. Almond will go down, but Doki has no passive, so he has to back off.
Whew.
And suddenly Kuronami is the most important man in the game. Liv getting hit. Little knockup. That actually might be a kill. It's pretty close. Sentinel coming through. Giving it over to Jarnagus is pretty good. However, Doki will surely die for this and pick up the Krugs too, because why not? Okay, teleport in from Hui. Nox has the gate, or can use it to stun on TP in. Meanwhile, top lane, I don't know if this aggression is really warranted. Feathers is behind, but not that far behind. You've got an entire cannon wave hitting you. You're behind a tower, in front of a tower, and Moxie just has too much Moxie and will go into his death.
Yeah.
His ultimate's just not up. You can see it's almost up now. Perhaps he thought he could delay until it was up. Just not able to make it
there's
work.
a time to be like, yeah, I'm awesome. We just want a team fight, but still.
Almond also being pretty aggressive. Kuronami, this is a huge shutdown if he goes down. There's not enough CC. Sejuani ult misses. It doesn't matter if they all die if Jarnagus gets the shutdown. This is a huge swing for RAWR, and there's not going to be any follow-up. It looks like they get away with it. This also means the dragon can be started. Renekton, not in the area. The other ultimates are just not here. No Varus ult, no Sejuani ult. They only have Nautilus ultimate. I don't think they can contest this. They're going to try, however. Magikarp is not going to be in the best position to really do damage here. Sejuani comes in for this steal attempt. It's really early, however. Is rooted, has to leave. If Sejuani wants to commit, it's not going to be in time for the dragon. But the smite is a little late. Doesn't matter. Doki gets it. Doesn't have passive, so he will fall. He will fall, but Mary has to commit so hard to get it. And that's another kill on to Mary. Liv is running for his life. Probably will be fine. Trying to dodge a little bit too fancy. You can't dodge like that whenever, if you dodge, it doesn't, you're still going to die. And will also fall to Veigar. And suddenly, despite Kuronomi's turning around, the Hui being a big problem because of these over-aggressive plays, RAWR is suddenly in a huge position to take game 3. The gold is even, but they have 2 dragons. They have the scaling. And it is Hextech.
It is. It is.
Oh, actually, Kuro again stuck. And if Kuro keeps dying like this, he absolutely cannot scale. The R just does not do enough damage. He gets a plate, and Veigar's backing up because they don't know where Sejuani is here. He is. Doki has no passive. Senna ult, going to give a shield. Veigar finally coming back into the fight. I think they're going to back them off. Doki does not want to back off, however. He keeps going forward. Kuronami not able to land the QQ. And it will dissipate, but Renekton... Yeah, Renekton is flanking. I think he wants to find Doki doing a camp. The plant goes the wrong way. Ultimate first to make sure the AoE damage comes in. Almond, however, being a little aggressive, gets the R button off. If Hui can get any kind of QW, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. However, this is Herald spawning, so I think they'll turn to that objective.
And is it me, or does it feel like Moxie is trying to do what Magic Claps did and split push that top lane?
Yeah, split pushing, and also just being able to have that flank to where Doki thought he was totally fine. I don't think anyone has attacked Doki in his own jungle in quite some time. But suddenly there was a crocodile.
Definitely not.
Crocodiles are a little bit harder to kill than raptor camps.
True.
However, Doki not willing to give up this Herald yet. Ornn is in position to fight, and Ornn ultimate in this choke is really hard. But Veigar gets hooked. No follow-up, however, so it really doesn't amount to much.
Yep. Amounts to red team getting the Rift Herald. Go
yeah, I really didn't think that RAWR was going to get that, but them getting the Rift Herald really secures the ability for them to delay this game. They're only behind by 1.5k gold or so. Herald is definitely a way to accelerate leads, but Baron Bestie's not able to collect it.
Mm-mm.
So, this third dragon is going to mean a lot. What power spikes will be there? I have to imagine Mary Lee Sin is only going to have a Bork, and I'm not sure that's going to pull out the pentakill for him like in game 1.
Mm-hmm.
The power spikes on RAR, however, are pretty immense. I think while Senna probably won't finish the second item, she will have the second serrated Dirk part, which will mean a lot whenever you're talking about these low armor targets like Kuronomi and Mary Lee Sin. Having the Roa isn't the most impactful for Vagar, so he might not be the most damaging of Vagars yet, but he will
He has
have
the
the ability to
potential.
CC. Yeah, he's got a pretty big cage.
Oh goodness.
Really, the damage you're expecting to see is from Senna and Magic Claps. It's a little hard for them to bring out that damage, however, because of both the range issues and how Senna takes so long to auto attack. So, despite the scaling, I could see some long-term problems for RAR's team fighting. However, if Moxie just gets stuck in a cage and hit like this for 10 years, certainly isn't a problem. However, Nox
Oh,
getting
going the
hooked
other
here.
way.
Roshan still get hooked. A lot of CC coming in. Nox is definitely dead. They're gonna go for Senna perhaps with the Nautilus ult. They decide not to because Donicus is able to flash away. But that's still a major kill right before Dragon spawns.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Doki going in despite
What are
just
you
losing his mid
doing?
laner. He's got a really good ultimate. The tower is hitting a lot of people, but there's just not enough damage follow-up. It's just the tower, which now falls, and Jonicus with no mana. All it does is delay and use a lot of his health right before the dragon. It does take down Almond to low health to where he is recalling. They get top tower and bot tower. The teleport actually canceled there from Kuronomi because the tower fell. And I'm not sure Doki is willing to give up this dragon. Hextech Soul means that they are able to get to the dragon pretty quickly. Jonicus electing not to use the Gex Gate for reasons unknown. And really is a question of who can get this dragon. It's very important. Stopping the soul stacking is step one of Baron Besties. But without them being able to get the soul themselves, it is a question of if they can win the game before too many ornaments come out, before too many souls are on Jonicus, before Nox Lucifer has the 1000 AP power spike.
Oh goodness.
However, there's one thing RAR is not willing to do. They are not willing to slow the game down when they're behind. So arguably this draft is like not acceptable for them because trying to play for a late game just does not fit with Doki being on Zac. The way that he plays Zac, he goes for every objective regardless of how risky it is. It's just fortunate that they happen to be even this game. And now the question is, what will happen this fight? Look at Magic Claps, look at Jonicus, look at the Renekton flanking through the Hex Gate. No one is on him yet. Nox Lucifer is in a lot of trouble here. Senna is hitting for a lot. Meanwhile, Magic Claps just trying to run away. Nox will go down. I'm not sure. Oh, he did use ult and he lives barely, and Jonicus is absolutely popping off. Finally, Crow is on him, but that might not be enough if Magic Claps can also get over Hui. Getting 2 kills, Feathers too low to do anything, and it looks like the Renekton flank worked, even if it was a bit risky. I don't think they're ready to give this up, however. Almond is low enough health that if you kill him, suddenly the dragon is a 50-50, and he has backed off Mary Lee Sin, stuck in a cage. Magic Clubs will go down, but not before putting Mary low enough that Lox can pick it up. Almond also going to go down. The shield from Senna and the damage on the Kuro means that Kuro also has to back off, and they may still get this third dragon despite losing the fight initially. Almond is still dead, so that means no smite for RAR, or for Baron Besties. However, RAR doesn't really have the damage to take this dragon down quickly, and it is, again, Hextech Soul, so Sejuani will be here pretty quickly. I think starting this dragon could be a mistake. However, Nautilus and Renekton are fighting for mid-prior right now. They do not have any idea how much health this dragon has. They only know now. And Nautilus is hooking in without any backup yet. However, no one can stop Renekton from jumping onto Jonicus. Not quite able to catch the smite. Able to slow it down. Magic Claps is in the area, but Zac goes down quickly. No smite for RAR, no Moxie for Baron Besties, and soon no live. But Almond's coming in, able to get a lot of damage on Magic Claps, who will go down, and now the only damage is a 1 health Jonicus, who is recalling, and this Vagar, who is CC'd, and is going to die to the way damage. And I believe that Baron Besties is going to finally be able to secure this dragon.
That is the longest dragon fight ever.
Doki's actually coming in to
Feathers,
try to go
what are
for
you
the
doing?
steal. It would be worth it if he got it. Meanwhile, Orin from the front trying to make nonsense, and Mary flashes the wrong way. He is unaware that there is a Senna there, and suddenly Mary does not recognize where the safety is, and Senna gets a triple kill. And I just do not understand what is happening. Once again, I am wrong. It's not RAWR that gets it. It's not Baron Besties that gets it. It is RAWR again that finally gets this dragon, and they're on Soul Point.
Feathers literally pulled them out of that dragon pit and just like kept them busy just long enough for Doki to get in, and then Doki kept him busy long enough for the rest of his team to show up.
They're actually starting Baron. I feel like this is a major mistake if it goes poorly. This could be the point that they look back on. Why are you trying to accelerate the game this much? Kuro is dead, but he has teleport. I'm just not sure they have the damage. However, it is such an insane play that I'm not sure Baron Besties has even the foresight to call it being possible. They're only going to face check it now. Baron is half. Kuro is not teleporting yet. They finally see it. Doki's trying to back off, but you have nowhere to back off to. The CC is coming in. Even if Doki has passive, he surely will not be able to live through it. Almond is going low. The Doki stops Moxie. Finally, Doki goes down, but they just have no damage here. The Senna that is so fed is on the other side of the fight. Varus at least goes down, but Vhagar is now out of commission as well. And suddenly RAWR have started a Baron that they may be gifting over to Baron Besties. Hui also picks up the Senna, and they are starting the Baron. And I called it from the beginning. The Baron is just too risky. You don't have the damage to leverage the spawn timers to go for something like that.
Dang. But Doki's up.
Okay, surely.
Surely.
Oh, they're actually backing off. They just also don't
Why
have Nox
not?
is also
Why?
face checking. He is worried because he hasn't seen them back off yet. He wants to see how low the Baron is, and then backing off actually does get him a kill. However, this game being accelerated doesn't matter much whenever the tools of acceleration have only been gold, right? Accelerating the game through gold is completely fine if Feathers, if Nox, if Jonakis gets a lot of the gold as well. Both teams have been gifted lump sums of gold. Meanwhile, the only dragons are on RAWR's side. This feels like it favors them so heavily. They don't have to worry about soul for at least 24 minutes. Well, like 22. I don't know. Math is hard. It's like 18 plus 2. 20 minutes. All they have to worry about is this Baron, and the Baron wouldn't be able to crack open the base unless they made a major misstep. So, honestly, this just favors RAWR even more as long as they're able to play to their scalers. Vhagar's about to hit level 14, then level 15. Oh, he hits level 13 just now off the tending. I looked at the stacks. I was like, oh, he's got 9 stacks. He's going to level up soon. Then I looked at his level. He's level 13. He dinged to 13 because of 10 stacks. Either way, Baron Besties has started the Baron of the Bestie. Doki only now is able to see how far down it is gone. They don't quite have the damage to rush it, but Doki certainly could come in for a steal. The CC is good once Doki's in the pit, but they're not able to keep him out of the pit. No vision yet. These wards keep on getting disabled. Orin ult is pretty good. Almond's already pretty low. And Almond's down, so the Baron is 100% going to RAWR. They get it off the Orin. The flash in. And RAWR's going to win this fight without Magic Clouds even being there. He's not even backdooring. He's just running towards this fight. Nox Lucifer is the only one, however, that is able to try to fight this until Magic Clouds gets here. Liv is too low to engage unless it's going to be a suicide engage. Orin is teleporting in. Kuro trying to act like a melee assassin. It's not working out. Zanya's will not save you. There is no one to come and rescue you from your stasis. And RAWR have not only waited for the late game, they have actually turned the tools of acceleration into their favor. Picked up 3 dragons despite drafting a late game team, and have picked up the Baron.
That is so just insane.
Yeah, I don't know how to analyze this game if I was the coach of RAWR. Obviously, I'm not coach material, but I'm just saying, like, from an armchair point of view, what do you even begin to say?
Good job.
Good job. Yeah, sure. You know what? You got it done. It's not how I would have done it. It's not how 90% of the league community would have done it. You got it done. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really berate your players if they win the game. So we'll have to see. If they win the game, it's good job.
Yep, no mistakes at all if you win the game. That you heard it here first. Fish says, win game, get to tell your coach to fuck off. Um,
Don't
either
tell
way.
your coach to fuck off. But
Okay, sorry. You tell
Yeah,
your
yeah.
coach, hey,
we
who
won.
won the game? Scoreboard. Scoreboard.
That's right.
Uh, either way, Soul is spawning. Baron Besties is not even in the position to fight, but they mostly have to because, again, they're behind on scale. They're going to force the fight around the tower, but this doesn't work either. If Magic Claps is paying attention, what is going on? Feathers is walking in to flank from his own side of the base. Doki, meanwhile, is engaging. Magic Claps is ignoring the fight. There is no Magic Claps. If they loses, it is purely on Magic Claps just not coming. Almond, however, is the first to fall. Jonah gets the second. There's no damage because it's purely Vagar. Magic Claps is still just taking a turret. And that is an entire wipe of RAWR except for Magic Claps, who, yes, gets the turret,
Feathers
but
is
loses
alive.
his team a bunch of their gold lead and will lose them the attempt of the soul.
Come on, Feathers, you can make
Okay,
it.
well, I said, yeah, there it goes.
There it
That's
goes.
the wipe of the team.
Oh, Feathers. He's like, I can make it.
I don't know if Magic Claps was just stubborn and thought that fight was already lost.
I
don't know why
idea what was
Feathers
being
ran
said.
so far to flank the enemy. You don't flank the enemy team by running through them to get behind them. That's not how flanks work. That'd be a very interesting war tactic. Okay, here's what we're going to
I
do.
think he was trying
Our
to
horses are going to run through their infantry to get behind them. So that way then they can flank. This is not how that works.
I actually don't think he was doing it to flank them per se, but to get to his tower because he thought the fight was going to be at tower, and then the fight ended up
I
not
guess.
being at tower, so he had to
I
turn around
guess.
and run back down.
Right.
Is
I don't
funny.
know. Just I'm suddenly not pointing to the scoreboard if I'm on RAWR. I'm like, Coach, actually I need some help. Which is why
Right.
Coachify.gg is our sponsor. I'll bring that up again later, but thought I'd throw that in there.
Nice.
Coach, what is happening? Why are these fights going this way? And Coach is just like, well, I don't know. Magic Claps decided that you guys weren't worth having around. You just wanted to be bot lane, so.
Magic Claps is in a solo game at the moment. He'll be with you
Right.
eventually.
But even the price of that is not that great. Yes, you gave Baron Besties a lot of gold in their first dragon. You still have Senna picking up a lot of souls. Let's check the stacks of this game. Senna has 98 souls. At 100, she gets pretty freaking threatening. Nox Lucifer has 246 stacks, 600 AP. Not quite where I would say it's like to the point where Vagar can't lose, but certainly a threat. Ornn has put out 2 ornaments, one onto just one. Just two. His own, of course, Yaksho, and then the Infinite Convergence on Vagar. So the scaling is pretty heavy, and Baron Bessie's a long way to go. Meanwhile, Doki jumping in, not quite able to hit anyone, but Mary is completely zoned out. Mary is not going to be able to attack anyone but Doki for the rest of the fight. Actually dies to auction because Magic Claps has decided to join the team, comes for the flank properly, picks up the Varus kill. Now the rest of the team is scattering. It is only on Kuronami to be able to do any damage while Liv goes down. There's no objectives up exactly. The health bars are probably too low to end the game. But another fight won for RAWR is making it closer to the 3-0 and moving on to the finals. Wave clear, pretty good for both sides. Probably not going to have that much wave for this tower. Doki, however, doesn't care. No wave, no problem. Get the knockup, get the kill. Magic Claps gets it again. Almond also really low. I said that they couldn't end the game, but if this keeps on going towards this path, they may just do that. Almond also trading too heavily while alone will die. Mary Lee Sin is the only hope to keep the game alive. I don't think that he's going to be able to collect the Zac passive, especially with that cage. Moxie trying to ult and come in, but again, this fight is just a numbers disadvantage from the beginning to end. There's never been a point where 5 members of Baron Besties are alive. It is enough to back off RAWR, but backing off RAWR is not your solution. You are not trying to make the game last longer. Every minute that ticks, every Q stack that Nox Lucifer gets, every soul that Jonikis gets makes the game much harder, and Baron is spawning.
Like, it's one thing that drives me crazy about people in League of Legends is, you know, that I can do this and solo jump into an entire pack of the enemy. Like,
you must get like an aneurysm watching Doki then.
I do. I'm like, why Doki? Don't do it. Don't do it.
Baron has fallen. And there's just no tools for Baron Besties to get into a game except supreme advantage in teamfight mechanics. Their only chance is to get a team fight where they just completely outplay RAR, which is possible. We've seen Magic Claps just decide not to show up to a fight. But
Yeah.
even then, they have to turn that into a game-winning push. Just getting one fight is not going to be enough unless they use it to end the game. Another
Next
ornament has come
up.
out. We've got Senna with the Edge of Finality. Doki, a little caught, but it's Zach. Doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
Not Elder, sorry, they didn't get Soul because Magic Clouds didn't show up. Soul is spawning in 1 minute. Baron will still be up for RAR.
Alrighty, let's see. Everybody's just kind of clearing some jungles.
Yep, just doing the preparatory methods before Soul spawns. However, grouping up mid, trying to get that mid prio to be able to easily come through river to the Dragon Pit. Pretty good idea. Nice a plan. Baron Besties actually gets prio over this entire river. However, I'm not sure that they're willing to stand their ground. Magikarp finds Kuronomi. This could be a huge deal if Kuronomi goes low or even has to use any summoners. No flashes available. Kuronomi goes down, and this fight just became so much harder. You don't even care if Magikarp dies. That's 100% worth, and they're not even able to chase Magikarp. Feathers does use the ultimate a little prematurely, but if they get this dragon, it's another step towards the 3-0. The only real chance here is Almond coming in for a steal. No vision available at this time. Last ward just placed by Liv, so they're going to have to do it by field. Pink ward comes in. They actually see it now. Cage comes through. This steal happens!
Oh!
Almond will die, however, and this is the danger of a steal. Even if you come in, you steal, you will die. And can your team hold the 5v4? Actually, the 5v3 for a little bit. Kuronomi will be coming up soon while Baron is on them. Probably though. Wave clear is pretty good. I don't think that you're gonna lose that much here. The cannon will be annoying. Doki's gonna try to make a turret dive happen, but this is pretty risky. This tower is pretty damaging. Doki doesn't care yet. I'm sure he will eventually care. Has to jump out. Now the minions are tanking, and it looks like it was good enough to pressure the tower down, but they might not get much more once the 20 is up.
I think all they wanted was that tower.
Absolutely, but it was very risky in my opinion. I guess Doki knows that he's tanky enough at this point. It doesn't really matter. I just get scared whenever plays like that are made. Especially by Doki. No offense, he has a different risk tolerance than I do. That's all. Feathers finding the knock-up on almost everyone. Moxie's already low. Magic Claps is willing to go in as an assassin. Zanyus is not going to stay Kuro for long. This is going to be the losing fight. RAR has done it. They have somehow turned it from a game one that people said, I said they didn't deserve the win, into an easy 3-0. Proving the doubters were wrong. Doki has finally made it into playoffs and won into his way into the finals.
Doki, you...
Look, just because he's in the finals doesn't mean he can't just have a little 10th death. Okay? Calm down. He made it to finals. Scoreboard.
He did.
Okay?
He did.
I did die 10 times. Scoreboard.
My gosh.
You know, we won. Yeah, and that's the danger of seals like that. I mean, it had to be done. Don't get me wrong. But if you go in to steal the soul, you steal it, you're still leaving your team to a very tough defense, especially whenever RAR already has Baron. And that's just the position that they were put in by the fact that RAR was able to turn the early aggression into so many dragons to be on soul point at that point.
Yeah,
Kuronomi did play the lane much better. Taking the Hui away from Nox Lucifer did look like the right idea, and I think it's something that Lotus may pick up from the series. But there might be things that Baron Besties didn't do that Lotus might elect to do.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, Prowl got to see a lot of stuff while he was watching, because I know he was with us earlier. And a big thank you to Baron Besties for joining us in this split and trying to take a Sentinel crown.
Yeah, and if Prowl gets confused, like, what the hell is RAR doing? Why did Doki go in? What he can always do is ask his coach that he can get from Coachify.gg, our sponsor. Because at Coachify.gg, there is no commission. It's the perfect place to get students, and it's free to join. There's course tracking, and you can use PayPal to get paid.
Yeah.
And then your coach can say, I don't know, Doki's on a different plane of existence. If you ever ascend there, let me know.
Let me know.
Just how it works, I guess.
It is how it works. It is how it works. Well, congratulations to RAR for the 3-0 tonight. You will be moving on to face White Lotus next week in the
And the week
final.
after if they win that series, because it is double elimination.
If RAR can manage to win against White Lotus next week, then they will force a second game against White Lotus on the April 8th. Because April 1st, both April 1st, Fool's Days, and Easter. So we will not be streaming that week.
Either way, really well done. I did like the draft adaptations from RAR. I think that Besties, unfortunately, was not able to utilize the fact that they were blue side second game and third game, or the information they got from the first game. But I'm sure that they exposed enough that White Lotus will have quite the advantage of scouting. I mean, just looking at those drafts and those games, there's definitely room to improve in the drafts for White Lotus. And even if they lose the first series, just getting information, they get a second series to try to crack it again.
Yep. So we look forward to seeing you guys next week to find out what's what. And hopefully we'll see most of you guys back tomorrow for Crusader and their semifinals.
Yeah, sounds like fun.
Have a good night, everybody.
Turn it all out, tell me every secret. Said that I care, asked do you mean it? It's been months since we've been okay. I'm putting off what's coming. Another night's